Welcome back to Travolting, covering The Punisher with special guest David Wilczynski. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, Jeff.
I am vengeance.
Oh.
Whoa. Is the Punisher in the studio with us today?
I guess so.
Boy.
Jeff,
welcome back to Travolting, folks. Thank you so much for listening to our episode last week on Basic.
Oh, yeah, we did Basic before this.
We got Basic last week. This week we're getting punished for our sins.
Yeah, we are. So The Punisher.
Yes.
2004.
2004 film The Punisher, starring Thomas Jane and, of course, John Travolta.
And besides Blade, the only rated R superhero movie at this time.
At this time, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a
The second of 4 attempts to do a live action Punisher, which is more than Spider-Man, and almost as many as Batman. Batman does take the cake because there's like 18 Batman.
Yeah.
There's too many Batman.
Batman has like 1930s cereals and everything.
Yeah. Jeff had some thoughts on our Chains of Gold episode on Batman, but
it's too many fucking Batman.
we lost it all.
Right now, yeah, I'm furious that that's why that episode got deleted by accident. I recorded like a 20-minute rant about Batman, and then the episode like got corrupted when we exported it.
It's just too hot of a
It
take.
was too hot of a take. Basically, like, there's just how many, like, right now there's a Batman movie coming out next March. It's a Flash movie with 2 Batman in it coming out later next year. So we have 3 live action Batman. There's a Batman in like one of the TV shows.
Yeah, and the Harley Quinn animated one. And there's a Batwoman series on the CW.
They're making a Batgirl movie with Batman in it. Like, there's like 10 Batman right now. We got to take a chill. We got to take a step back, reevaluate the situation, because this is not sustainable.
Because Batman's the only superhero Warner Brothers knows how to market, which is why anytime they do another superhero, they're just a Batman reskin of
just
that
Batman
superhero.
in that movie.
Yeah, and it's like, why isn't there just like one Batman in all of these?
Because too many Batman.
Well, because I think in the Flash one,
It's both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton.
which the Michael Keaton one, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone's okay with that, right?
Like, I'm fine with, if there was just a Batman and then they go to another universe and there's another Batman. That's fine. They're doing that with Spider-Man. That's fine.
Yeah.
This is, they're doing that. But there's also another Batman independent of that universe. And there's a Batgirl and a Batwoman.
With a Batman.
And they're all different universe. I'm so confused. It hurts me.
Yeah.
I hate it. Anyway, this is not Batman. This is not DC. This is The Punisher, a Marvel property.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna
And we have a very special guest.
yes, David
Hi.
coming in with some Punisher knowledge.
Yes. All right. So where do you want to begin?
Well, we'll jump right into the context corner on this episode. I'll do a little Travolta, and then I'll also just hand the floor over to you for some Punisher information.
Oh, wow.
So we're picking up with John at a rough point, to say the least. He's still trying to recover from Battlefield Earth. His attempts at that have all so far not gone so well.
And we talked about the archetypal movies of his comeback films.
Yes.
So, like, we had Basic, which was his quasi Pulp Fiction sort of film. Where, like, when he did Blowout, he did his quasi Grease film with Olivia Newton-John, Two of a Kind.
Yeah. He's essentially just recreating the steps that he did in the past that didn't work for him then and they don't work for him now.
So what's this recreating?
This is trying to recapture his villain streak in the 90s. We're like,
Yeah.
they were casting him as a big guy villains.
Yeah.
Broken Arrow, Face Off. You're in sync there. That was really cute.
Yeah.
But he was, even Battlefield Earth, he's playing the villain. Like, he's known for being a good villain guy. You can bring him in and he'll give you a good villain performance. So he's trying to get back to that in what seems like it's going to be, I'm sure at the time, the next wave of Hollywood is these superhero flicks.
Because this is after the wave of X-Men.
Yeah, this is after X-Men, Spider-Man, Blade.
And X2 came out already.
X2 has come out.
Yes. And Blade 2 has already come out. I actually have the other superhero movies that came out that year.
Spider-Man 2 was the same year, right?
Yep. Spider-Man 2, Blade 3,
What a movie.
Hellboy. Catwoman and The Incredibles.
The Halle Berry Catwoman?
Yes.
Okay, so that one set it back a few years.
Same with Blade 3.
Blade Trinity.
Right, Trinity. That's
Yeah, Blade Trinity with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh,
in his first of 5
yeah.
superhero roles.
Right.
Because he tried that. and
Hey,
didn't
he
ro-
stuck the landing on one.
Blade didn't really work out for him. He's like, okay, I'm going to come back as Deadpool in this X-Men movie. Didn't really work out.
You're right.
He's like, okay, my real one's going to be Jonah Hex. It didn't really
I
work out.
forgot about
He's
Jonah
in,
Hex.
he's in Jonah
I was
Hex,
like
right?
4. What are you talking about?
Because he's in Jonah Hex. I just want to confirm he's in Jonah Hex. I'm pretty sure
Is he in Jonah Hex?
Maybe I'm just thinking of Josh Brolin. I'm just
I
thinking
think
of
that's Josh
because
Brolin.
Josh Brolin was also in a lot of superhero movies.
Yeah, 'cause we all know the famous or infamous one, the Green Lantern.
And yeah, the Green Lantern doesn't work out for him. He doesn't he do R.I.P.D.? Wasn't that a
Yes.
Wasn't that a comic book movie?
I don't think so, but there's a lot of like weird independent comics that made it to main films during that time.
I seem to think R.I.P.D. was like a comic book movie. And he pops up in it, but that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Deadpool was the one that I found that day. Anyway, so yeah, Spider-Man 2, Blade Trinity. Like you're saying, these are the movies that come out this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure to Travolta at the time, like, you know, you want to get in on these superhero movies. It's doing great things for a lot of careers right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to say like Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina. Like these were established guys who would have had great careers regardless.
Was Alfred Molino, was he like established at this time? Yeah, he was.
I mean, he's in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah, he is.
In the opening scene. He's Sapito. But, you know, they're guys who are established. Molina was more of like a stage guy who would like pop up for like, you know, you bring him into your movie. He's going to give you a good supporting role.
He had no right to be that good in Spider-Man
He's
2, though.
insanely good in Spider-Man.
Like, Willem Dafoe knew the villain Spider-Man needed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alfred Molina would just walk in and be like, this guy's going to be Shakespearean good. Like, he's literally like, I'm going to have like a dead love, but then like be like crazed maniac over this passionate goal of mine with like morals and regards.
He literally does the Hamlet thing where he's
redemption-
talking to his hand, except it's a
Yeah.
claw.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It's like,
Like-
he had no right.
Yeah.
He had no right
No. But
to be
Movie's
that good.
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
it's so good.
It's no wonder like he was like the first recap villain they showed him in the
I'm
Spider-Man
going to wait
trailer.
until the end of next week's episode to talk about my hot take on Spider-Man 2. I'm going to wait until the end of next week's episode.
So just so that way I'm not here and within like strangling
No,
distance.
just because I definitely haven't already said it in that episode that we've recorded in advance. That has not happened. But I'm going to wait till the end of next week's episode to tell you my thought on Spider-Man 2.
Ernest
but, you know,
movie.
This has done a lot of in no relation to Jim Varney.
So this is this is being counted as part of the wave
Yeah.
of superhero movies that are coming about.
Yeah,
and
the
John
fir- the
Travolta
first-
sees an opportunity.
And he's like, this is an opportunity for me to get in on a big franchise. I can do my villain thing again. And so he signs up for this movie, you know, directed by Jonathan Hensley. And they got Thomas Jane to play the Punisher in it.
Yeah.
And this was actually one of the first movies Marvel had a direct creative control in.
Because this is before Marvel Studios in
Yes.
2008.
Because Marvel had sold a lot of the rights in the late 90s.
Yeah. They were facing bankruptcy, essentially.
There had actually been a previous Punisher movie.
There had been, yeah, with
The
Dolph.
19th Yeah, with Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Dolph
Lundgren.
Lundgren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Punisher is, and David, you'll talk to this more, but he's one of those characters who like kind of gets removed from comics a lot. Like a lot of people forget he's like he was originally a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, like he's just like, oh yeah, the Punisher is such a tough dude, you know, he's great, isn't he?
Well, it's also really hard to try to adapt him into cinema purely because of the times.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about this in the movie, but I mean, for what this movie got criticized for, like thinking about it in 2004 times, I'm like, it's not hard to
Yeah.
agree with that.
I mean, this is a very 80s character that they made a very 80s movie out of, and then this movie feels like it's still in the 80s.
But with like 1970s consequences, with like entire families getting butchered.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a little tough there. Like even like the new what's the guy's name?
John Bernthal?
John Bernthal. Like even that one came like had a little bit of controversy behind it when it came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because that one's like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the controversy on that one was like, this guy's just a messed up PTSD soldier.
Yeah.
And there were lots of people who had takes on that. So it just seems like the Punisher is always like, it's a really tricky character to like, if you're going to put him as a protagonist, it's tricky.
We'll get back to the Travolta when we talk about the plot of this movie, but David, why don't you give us a little rundown as to the Punisher?
Yes.
I want to hear this.
The Punisher was originally created by Jerry Conway for issue 7. I have the number here. 129 of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the original Spider-Man run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He gets hired to be an assassin because right now Spider-Man's being framed for the murder of Norman Osborn. And it goes down pretty similar to how it does in the Maguire movies, where he just leaps out of the way of the glider and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And misunderstandings happen. Eventually Peter convinces him that he's being played and that he didn't do anything, and that seems to be the end of it. He was just meant to be kind of a one-off villain for just one issue, but then people really latched onto him, so they brought him on for another issue, and he kind of ends up just being a cameo character for about the first year of his run, up until 1975, where he gets his first miniseries.
And I know this might be an impossible question to ask, David, but like, do we know anything why he had such a mass appeal back then? Because for comic books, I'm not like big into comic books, and to be honest, like, I don't know if I ever will be, because some of the things that people can attach to with comic book characters can be so superficial, such as their look.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that definitely had a big part of it.
Right. Like, did he just look good, or was there something in the comic that like drew him out?
I think it was just his look. He was just there wasn't really a character like him yet that was defined as like a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, because the writer of this drew up a first initial sketch because he liked sketching out his characters before he passed them off to the artist.
Yeah.
And then it was the artist who decided to take this skull logo that was just like in the top right corner, is like a little patch, and change it to like this big imposing skull. Like, there weren't many superheroes in like black and white costumes at the time. It was just a very striking design, and I think that's what people kind of latched onto.
Got it.
I also feel like Punisher comes out in mid-70s, and this is like,
Perfect
right after
timing.
It's right after Watergate.
Perfect
distrust
timing.
in the American idea is very
Yeah,
low.
yeah.
And superheroes up to that point had the very like, gee whiz, like Stan Lee ideology.
Yeah.
And so this character coming in the very like morose 70s,
This guy's like, I'm gonna murder.
who's like, I'm gonna kill the bad guys because crime's getting bad, and I'm gonna kill them before they kill us.
and it's time I take the law into my own hands.
'Cause,
Like, this is like the first real. Would it be safe to say? I mean, Batman probably is this way too, but I feel like the Punisher is the first one that's like, fuck the law, vigilante. Like, at least Batman, it's like, I'm not gonna kill people. Like, I'm just going to really severely wound people.
Yeah.
But I am going to take the law in my own hands. But there's a code behind it. Whereas, like, the Punisher is, like, the truest definition of a vigilante. Where it's just, fuck the law, fuck
It's not good
morals.
enough.
I'm just going to fight fire with fire. Which means I'm going to kill the bad guys like they kill good people.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a striking thought for a comic book.
Yeah, because like the Punisher's origin in the comics, at least, is that he and his family, after he's just gone back from serving two terms, I was going to say two terms, tours. Thank you. 2 tours in Vietnam, are taking a walk through Central Park, and they just accidentally walk into like a mob execution. And they just kind of get in the crossfire of that, and like a no witnesses kind of thing. So he vows to take out all crime, to punish the wicked.
Yeah, to punish the wicked.
Yeah.
Kill all criminals.
As he says many times in this, or at least one time at the
And
end.
it's one of those fun things where, like, because characters
Fun
and
things.
no. It's one of those fun where, like,
Isn't it fun how he just like is a brutal man?
like characters in Marvel don't really age. Like, that's part of the thing of the comics is like, it's been running for like Tony Stark's been around for 60 years at this point. If they were to explain his aging, it wouldn't make sense. He'd be like an old man. So like they're always like revising where these character Punishers like he was in Vietnam, and it's like he was in the Gulf War. He was in Afghanistan. They keep like resetting where he was at.
Yeah, right now it's just vaguely he was in a war.
They decided, what if we just stop adding specificity to this and just leave it like this?
It's more of a template at that
It's
point.
like as Tony Stark was originally captured by the Viet Cong, and then he was captured by the Soviets, and now he's captured by the Taliban.
Yeah.
Or the 10 Rings in the movies.
Still haven't seen that movie.
Iron Man?
Shang-Chi.
Oh,
and
Shang-Chi and the... Okay, I was like, you haven't seen Iron Man?
Yeah, what?
Well, yeah.
How dare you?
I was like, we're seeing Spider-Man next week. What are you talking about? So, yeah. Punisher, big character coming off of his introduction. And, you know, is a very easy character to make a movie of in terms of just like, he's a vigilante with a gun who shoots people. What are movies in the 80s? Vigilantes with guns who shoot people. Cobra, crime's the cure. Here's the disease. Stallone. Dolph Lundgren does the Punisher.
Yeah.
And then the time is ripe in 2004 for a new Punisher.
With all the new superheroes coming out.
And so,
You gestured to me like I had a thing to say.
I thought you had a thing to say.
A little. Just in the sense that around this time in the comics, also Frank had just had a big comeback in the comics because he had been canceled for a while because his books were kind of bad because there's only so long you could stretch out that premise for an ongoing series.
Of him being like, am I doing the right thing, killing people? And then he kills more
questions-
people.
He never questions it in the comics. Like, he knows he's a bad person and he's no real better than the people he's putting down. But for a while they had him fighting demons.
Oh,
like, are we talking
Constantine?
like literal demons?
No,
or-
literal demons.
Oh, literal
not like mental ones. Like, no, he apparently the mob boss that was in charge of the ones that killed his family was a demon in like a flesh suit and created Frank Castle to become the Punisher, so he can technically make all his murders blood sacrifices, and that's why he has the skull logo, because it's the demon's face. Actually, I wish I was making this up.
Huh.
So yeah, glad that one kind of got put on the wayside.
Yeah, so that got canceled and never brought up again. And then in the year 2000, there's this Punisher line that sometimes gets referred to as "Welcome Back, Frank," and that is the main inspiration for this movie itself. There are scenes in this movie that are ripped right from the panels of this comic. I have screenshots of them.
We'll as we go through the plot, you'll have to bring those up when we get to them.
Yeah, maybe we can post them on our Instagram or something for people who can see them.
I will talk to Nicole.
Yeah.
And so after, the run of Marvel movies in the early 2000s, the Punisher is right on the line for a new one because he's also a character you can make a relatively affordable movie with. Because there's not really anything crazy in terms of effects required with the Punisher. You can make a low rent action movie with the Punisher.
Well, there's no there's no superhuman element.
CGI, there's no superpowers.
Yeah.
No crazy supervillains, just mobsters and a guy with a gun.
This movie still got only half its budget that it requested, though.
Yeah.
This movie ran into some production troubles that kind of doomed it in the end.
Yeah. I mean, and just to kind of finish off my prequel thoughts on this is, I mean, this movie seemed like it was, I won't say doomed from the beginning. Because I watched this movie. I've seen this movie before, and I was actually really young.
Yeah.
Too young to watch this movie. But I was raised in the generation where blood and guts, let the kid watch. If it's boobs, oh no, he's too young for that. That's the generation I was kind of born in. But yeah, I think the best utilization I've ever seen this character was probably in it was Daredevil, the Netflix show season 2. Mm-hmm. I really think he plays off better as a supporting character who thinks of himself as a vigilante, who is superhero or hero, whatever, Daredevil can
be a foil too.
Yeah, it's has to confront that, where it's this guy really believes he's doing the right thing, but I have to stop him because he's going about it the wrong way. And I think that's probably the best utilization of this character. But in terms of putting him in the main spotlight, it's a tough one because it questions everything we know about superheroes in terms of their morality and values. So, and that's all I have to say about
this movie's directed by Jonathan Hensley.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
This is his directorial debut.
Yep.
Prior to this, he was a screenwriter, mostly known for action movies. He'd done Die Hard. He wrote Die Hard with a Vengeance, Con Air,
Pretty
The Saint,
prolific.
Armageddon, Gone in 60 Seconds, a movie we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
He also wrote Jumanji.
The Robin Williams
Yes.
Jumanji? Get the fuck out.
Very confusing.
Famous action movie Jumanji.
notable balls to the wall action adventure Jumanji.
Underrated.
But yeah, this is his directorial debut. We'll talk about what he does next after this because it's funny. He's a director who makes one movie every 10 years. He's only directed 2 other movies, and one of them came out this year.
Wait, what?
The Ice Road
Yeah, The Ice Road
with Liam Neeson. And then 10 years.
The Ice Road.
And then 10 years before that, it was Kill the
Kill
Irishman.
the Irishman. A movie that definitely exists. It's actually them hunting down De Niro from
So-
the Irish.
Very,
He's like, I don't know nothing.
very prolific screenwriter, but not a prolific director.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who like gets the funding every like 10 years to make a movie, and he goes and makes a shitty action movie, and then we're back to square one.
Yeah.
But
Just weird if he's known for writing. It's like,
I think it's partially, Marvel does this a lot. They still do it nowadays, less so than they did back. Because the story of Marvel in movies is very strange. Because like late 90s, they were going through bankruptcy, sold off a lot of their rights to various studios.
yeah.
Those movies.
Hulk was given to Universal.
Yeah,
Spider-Man was given to Sony.
X-Men was given to Fox.
Yep.
And then those movies start coming out and they start being huge successes.
Yep.
X-Men, Spider-Man. Hulk did okay at the box office.
Don't you shut the fuck up
I like
about
that
Eric
movie.
Bana
I like that movie.
You just watch me go.
I'm your father, Bruce.
Hulk poodle.
Take it off.
Bruce, you keep denying I'm your father. I'm gonna turn you. I did it because I want you to be better.
What does this say, Billy? He's like, I'm gonna put him in a hole for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah, I'm putting him in a hole for the rest of his life. No, good movie.
Stop! I need a tissue sample.
But these movies are successful in one way or the other.
Someone's liking them.
And so Marvel's kind of started to like regret their decision. Like they need to do it at the time, but they're like, we're making money off of these.
Yeah.
We're getting a cut, not as big a cut as we like, and we're getting some merchandising like pushback in this because people are buying the comics and whatnot.
Right.
But they're starting to be like, what if we just made our own movies? We have the capital now. So they entered into a deal with I can't remember which loan provider it was, but a loan provider and Paramount Pictures. Marvel gets like a $4 billion loan or something crazy like that.
Jesus Christ.
And they put up as collateral their characters. So like and they're like, we're going to use this money to make a studio, sign a deal with Paramount that they would distribute the movies, but Marvel would own them. And so Marvel Studios puts their characters as collateral. If these movies don't succeed, the clearinghouse, whatever it was, the loan provider would get the characters.
It's like characters worth $5 billion.
I don't know if it was
The entire catalog?
Yeah, it was like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Like, if the first Iron Man had been a flop and the whole thing had collapsed, some company like Bank of America or something would own Iron Man right now.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
This is so fascinating.
Yeah. And so Marvel decides they're going to start making their own movies. This is kind of the first toe in the water of that.
Iron Man's the first one?
Iron Man's the first one that they really do. But the Punisher is the first like toe in the water of that, being like, let's try making our own movie.
So the Punisher's the first one.
Here's the thing: they have control over it, but they kind of cede control to a company to make, but they still own the overall property.
So this is with that like loan deal with Paramount.
I think this is before
It's
Paramount.
before the loan deal. It's the first time that Marvel owns the character that the movie is being made of.
Okay.
Because like Spider-Man, Sony has the exclusive rights. Sony could have made an R-rated Spider-Man movie, which they almost did.
And Marvel could not have.
Marvel
would not
couldn't have stopped it.
Right.
Marvel
James Cameron's.
owned the Punisher during this.
Gotcha.
And they basically picked a company and like, hey, make a Punisher movie for us.
For sure.
We're going to take some creative control, though.
Where does Iron Man come into play then?
After this...
4 years later.
This movie does...
Crazy to think that only 4 years after this we
So
get Iron Man.
It's right after this movie that they basically make that deal. It was like 2005 is when they make the deal. They get the loan. They open Marvel Studios with Kevin Feige and Avi Arad in charge.
Is Disney already owning them?
No.
Not yet.
Not until about like 2012, I want to say.
So Marvel, like in 2005, they're like, we now have our own studio. We've signed this deal with Paramount. They're going to distribute the movies that we make all with our own money. We have complete creative control. Our first batch is going to be Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, Captain America, and it's all going to lead to the Avengers.
Okay.
I always forget Ant-Man was in that first batch.
And they also like cut a deal with Universal, being like, you still own the rights to Hulk. Let us make your Hulk movie for you, but you can keep it.
And wasn't there was a deal that they could put the Hulk in their movies, but they couldn't make solo Hulk movies?
Yes.
So Universal still owns the Hulk rights.
Yeah, they still
But
own
Marvel-
to this day, right?
Yeah, but
They-
Marvel can use the Hulk.
as a side character.
Yes.
Which I wonder how that. I mean, I know Thor Ragnarok
Yeah.
wasn't a Hulk movie, but it was still kind of like very prominent. It's
Yeah.
like tiptoeing
As
to the
long as
line.
the movie is not a
Hulk movie.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder how like the She-Hulk works for the Disney Plus show.
TV rights are not included.
Fucking lawyers are genius.
But so Iron Man's the when they make that batch. Ant-Man keeps getting pushed. Eventually, it gets made by Peyton Reed, and I rather like the Ant-Man movie.
We don't.
But I love him. He's my best friend. Me and Scott Lang.
Paul Rudd.
But that's basically
Not
where the
just Scott
Punisher
Lang.
fits into this. Is it's the first investigation of Marvel to like how can we what's making our own movies like. Kevin Feige's not really involved at this point. It's still Avi Arad, who was the president of Marvel Entertainment at the time, and kind of in charge of making getting the characters out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of negative thoughts about this man. He was
Ruiner of Spider-Man movies.
yes, he's the one who forced Venom into Spider-Man 3 against Sam Raimi's will. Kind of made the Amazing Spider-Man 2 the mess that it was. And eventually, he got taken off of working on Spider-Man movies, and they gave the rights control back to Marvel proper. But Disney comes in 2009, buys Marvel Entertainment as a whole, and they start making the movies from Iron Man 2 onward.
That was after Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 is in production when the purchase is made, so Disney kind of is loosely involved in it. I think a big part of the reason Iron Man 2 drops the alcoholism plot line and makes it about like he's being poisoned in the skin from his arc reactor is because of the Disney purchase. But Thor, Captain America 1, and the Avengers are fully Disney productions.
But they still have the Paramount. They're still distributed through Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount's
at the
still
time.
Disney's making them, and Paramount's distributing them up through Captain America: The First Avenger. The Avengers is distributed by Disney, but Paramount's like, you still have to put our logo in front of it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I thought I saw the Paramount logo right up until Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3 is the last one with the Paramount logo, even though it's not distributed by Paramount. But it's great because it lets that awesome "I'm Blue" opening go up with the Paramount logo. Yo, listen up. Here's a story, which is the plot of Iron Man 3, is that he's
Blue.
he's blue. He's sad. Iron Man 3 is the best fucking movie ever made.
It is great.
Iron Man 3 is the best fucking movie ever made. I'll talk about that movie for days. But we're not talking about, we're going to wind the clock back 9 years to talk about the Punisher.
It's party like it's
That's
2004.
Okay. So Jonathan Ensley's making the Punisher movie. John Travolta's trying to get back into the game. He's going to play a villain. And I think he is a major problem in this movie that we will talk about.
Wow. Okay. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. I think John Travolta is a big problem with this movie. Because I don't think he's going nearly as big as he needs to.
He's very subdued.
Yeah.
I think he's doing...
Yeah.
And we'll talk about when we get into his character. This movie immediately runs into a problem of the budget gets cut in half right before production starts.
Yeah.
They only get 52 days to shoot the whole movie.
For me, I think the biggest problem that just going into the plot is it's forgettable.
Yeah.
This is a very forgettable movie.
Not much happens in it. Like a lot happens in the. Not even a lot happens in the very beginning.
Well, that's why I feel fine kind of having this long pretext and talking
Because
about,
once
like,
we actually
Marvel.
get into the
Because once we
plot-
get into the plot, we're going to fly through this thing.
Yeah.
There's like an hour in the middle where it's just Frank Castle goes to place and blows up mobsters.
Frank does something, he succeeds, moves on.
Yeah. Frank does have the most insane like scheme in this movie that I think is so funny. Like this movie could be 1 hour long if Frank had just gone and killed the people he wanted to kill. Instead, he's like, "What if I set up some convoluted ass scheme where they're gonna find out everything?"
And they're going to kill each other.
Yeah.
It involves a fake fire hydrant.
But this movie originally was intended to have the opening was going to be Frank Castle in the Kuwait in the Gulf War. They could not afford to shoot that scene, so they kind of retextualized him from a military veteran to a
Undercover cop.
They say at one point he's a veteran, but they make him an undercover cop,
Yeah.
which is where the movie begins.
Yeah. So, Marvel opening.
we're in-
Gunshots. Weird
Yes.
music.
Okay, can we talk about the Marvel logo?
Starting right away. We're starting right away. I love it.
Can we talk about? Can we talk about the Marvel logo?
Yeah.
This one's so much better than the shit they have now.
Right? It's nice, it's quick.
Yeah, I love it when it was just like you hear the pages turning and it's like. And it's like
That's literally like what it is
each
now.
one's personalized for the character the movie is about. Like you can see like the Punisher.
Yeah, they very quickly insert like Punisher.jpg into it.
Yeah. But I just love this one. It's so much better than the new one, which is like a minute and a half long. It takes like 3 years to watch the whole thing.
remember
it's like, it's like starts out with pages from a script. You see all these characters, and then there's clips, and then it's like dun, 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 dun,
You
dun,
ready
dun,
to
dun,
be
dun.
fucking hyped?
Like this one gets me more hyped.
It does.
Like when I just see, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're in this baby.
Do you guys remember like the weird second one that happened during like phase 2 of the MCU?
When they're like, yeah, we're gonna do a fancy one now, but like, it was only kind of a fancy
Yeah, it was
one.
like it's like a weird halfway between the two
Yeah.
of them. And like the guy who composed the music for that one also composed the theme for Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
And they sound identical.
Dun, 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 dun,
I mean,
dun.
It's also
nothing
equally
will
forgettable.
ever beat the Raimi Spider-Man intro music.
Blah, blah.
Okay.
It's a hard one to hum.
Yeah, it is.
What if
but
that
it's-
what if that music plays during the new
Oh
Spider-Man movie?
my God! I will weep.
It's been a big week
I
for superhero
will
movies.
fucking weep if it's just like. And I'm like, I will literally lose my shit. I will lose my shit. I
got-
will cry.
Overly excited just hearing Willem Dafoe talk in his weird goblin voice in the
I'm a
trailers.
goblin.
Choose.
Nick Nolte.
Choose.
You, Spider-Man.
Did you see this picture?
Must choose.
Okay. I'll post this on our Instagram when this episode comes out so they have context. Have you seen this new picture of Willem Dafoe in the new Spider-Man
Yes.
movie?
He's
I'm fucking ready. I'm so ready. Okay, so the Marvel opening. Yes.
Marvel intro.
We're 30 minutes into this
The
podcast.
superior Marvel intro plays.
We get some gunshot noises and music, and I have to pause again. The music for this movie sucks ass.
right.
Thank you. Right.
It sounds like a weird mix between like a it sounds like The Room and like a room porno.
So
Yeah, it kind of does. Mixed with like if a low budget war movie or something like that.
I'm gonna. The composer for this movie is Carlos Cilioto.
Fuck you, Carlos.
let me read you some of the movies he's composed and tell me if any of them exist. Not to like just put this guy on blast,
I
but
put him on blast a little bit.
have you ever heard of any of these movies? Breath of Life,
No.
Fluke,
No.
Uninvited,
No.
The Good War,
No.
Julius Caesar,
I mean, there's a play.
There's a Hail Caesar.
Nomad,
No.
Under
Well-
the Same Moon,
No.
The Ramen Girl.
No.
Excuse me?
They don't exist.
No.
They don't exist.
Yeah, the music sucks in this. All right, let's fucking get past the opening
Okay.
posters and shit. We're at a shipyard.
Yes.
It's nighttime, and some gang guys come up, and it is it's Mickey
Bobby Saint,
and Bobby Saint.
which is the most mobster ass names ever.
Saint.
It's like, yeah, we're gonna go send Mickey and Bobby Saint
Yeah.
down to the dock to grab some guns, you know.
In the comic that this is based off of, it's the Nucci family.
The Nucci.
Yeah.
I like Saint.
Yeah.
I like Saint better. So it's a crime business deal. Frank Castle's undercover as what's his name? It's like Otto Van
Creep?
Gusterson or some shit like that.
Oh, his fake name.
And he's got an accent with it too, because he's playing a Russian, right?
Yeah.
He's like playing a
He's
Russian.
playing Otto Krieg.
Otto
It is Krieg.
Otto
Okay.
Krieg.
And he's like, "What? Do you have the assets?
got the
with you?
goods?"
Do you have the goods?"
Most
I was like-
early
I
2000s
was like-
businessman looking guy.
Is that Thomas Jane?
You almost can't tell.
Yeah.
which might be.
It's a
actually,
good undercover
I was gonna
bit.
say, like, that's actually kind of a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get. So they're selling guns, and it's just like, so that's a deal. That's a deal. Shake hands. Cops show up.
Yeah.
Choppers.
Otto's like, nah, man, I'm not going with the first people.
He pulls out his guns. There's a shootout.
He gets lit up.
He gets lit up. He gets shot so many times, and then everyone's like freaking out. He's like, "Oh, I can't go to jail, man!" And then more guys pull out guns. Bigger shootout happens. Bobby Saint dies.
Mickey survives.
Mickey survives.
Is the lone survivor.
Yeah.
And so the cops haul the bodies off.
And one guy, they look over at Otto's body, Otto's quote
Yeah.
unquote, and they're like, "Oh man, get him into an ambulance, get him
Get him in the ambo. He just sits up and
send him in the morgue." Then they get him in a body bag, and then the ambulance backs up into this room. Doors open, out comes.
It's like this guy's investigating Bobby Saint's body, and then the other Thomas Jane just sits up in the other one. He's like, "Hey Frank," it's like, "Hey Paul, how are you?"
Yeah, he just does it in the background.
It's very funny.
So Frank is undercover.
He's undercover as Otto Krieg. This is his last assignment. He's retiring from the force.
Literally, he walks from that room of the morgue. They open a door. Surprise! We know you just got off a very high stakes, guns a blazing mission, but happy retirement party. Like, he doesn't have so many papers after this. He's gonna have to go to court proceedings. None of that stuff.
No, he's off to was it Puerto Rico after this?
Yeah, he's going to Puerto Rico for a family reunion.
From
What was
Tampa.
the scheduling like with this? No. What was the scheduling like with HR at the FBI? Is he working for the FBI?
Yeah, it's the FBI.
Yeah,
He's like, "Hey, Brenda, how you doing? Hey, Frank, how's it going?" It's like, "So I need to take obviously, I'm retiring Friday." I'm like, "Okay, gotcha." So Saturday, I'm going to Puerto Rico, so I just want to make sure I keep those dates clear. It's like, "Okay, what you got coming up?" It's like, "Well, Friday, we're going to be busting this drug crime ring." He's like,
I gotta get the squibs out.
"Yeah, I got to get the squibs out and all that stuff, but I think we should be good to go." It's like, "Okay, copy that." So Friday, you got the drug mob gang killing thing, and then you'll go to Puerto Rico. Okay, we'll get your paperwork cleared. I just...
What the scheduling for this? So... Frank has his little celebration, and they're like, "You sure we can't convince you to come back?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm done."
Then we get...
Cut to a limo driving up to a fancy house. They go in the fancy house. I actually kind of like this scene. I like how it's...
First impression was good for Travolta.
Yeah.
I liked him in the first impression.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think Travolta's bad in this. I think he is still the problem with the movie. I think he's fine, but what he's doing fine is the problem. If that makes sense. I'll get to it in a little bit.
Yeah. I think we're on the same page, because when you said he was the problem in the beginning of the podcast, I thought, I didn't think he was bad, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we get the first impression of...
What's the guy's name?
His consigliere.
Yeah,
or
his
whatever.
consigliere. What's that guy's name? Quentin Glass.
Quentin Glass, played by
Will Patton.
who is... What does I know?
He's in Armageddon.
Yeah, but he's also in he's in so many other films that he's just in the background fucking
He's one
role.
of those guys.
Yeah. So anyway, Will Patton, who plays Quentin Glass, the Saints family consigliere.
Like the Tom Hayden of the group.
Yeah. Thank you. Godfather reference.
But
so
he walks in with the other son, John Saint.
Johnny
boy.
Johnny boy.
Everyone, I said his name, and everyone just... Stuart and Dave just looked at me.
Well,
I couldn't remember anyone's name.
No one calls him John.
The thing is, it's the same actor playing both Bobby and Johnny.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So I was like,
I didn't even know
I was
that.
like, wait, did this guy just die? I was like, oh,
So they're twins.
they're twins.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't really seem that cut up about his brother's death.
I was like, why is the family cut up about it? They got a spare.
And so it was a 2-for-1 deal.
They made it sound like he was Bobby was the younger brother in this.
Yeah, they do. My baby brother.
They do say baby brother, but they are played by the same actor.
Interesting.
I don't get it. They don't say they're twins.
Yeah,
Maybe
They
they're not
never say
supposed
they're
to
twins.
be. You never see them in the same room.
The actor just didn't show up that day, and so they guy who plays John. Fuck it, you're a twin. Get in wardrobe.
So they walk into this big office in this fancy house in Miami. It's very similar to the house at the end of Bad Boys 2. Stuart, which you and I had a great time watching.
That was a while ago, man.
Yeah, that was a great time.
When did we watch those back to back?
During quarantine last year, Stuart and I sat down and watched all 3 Bad Boys movies in a row.
Yeah,
with a lot of
I
viewers
remember
involved.
that.
It was great.
Good times.
But it's a very similar.
Were they though?
Bad Boys 2 was good.
Okay.
Bad Boys 2 ends with them
They conquer Cuba.
Okay, so here's the thing. No, David, have you seen Bad Boys?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Bad Boys 1.
Bad Boys 1's like a cop movie.
All right.
That's all right.
It's like a cop movie that's a little heightened at times. It's Michael Bay.
Okay.
That's not the
Bad Boys,
ecstasy.
Bad Boys 2. It's like 2 hours, 20 minutes. You get to the 2-hour mark. You're like, this movie's got to be winding up at this point. Then the Miami Police Department invades Cuba.
Wait, the police invade.
Literally, Joe Pantoliano, the best actor ever, Joey Pants, is like the head of the Miami police force, and he just walks up to Will Smith, and Martin Lawrence is like, "Hey, you got some Delta Force guys coming with you," and they're like, "We gotta go get your sister, man." So Will Smith and Martin Lawrence hop in helicopters, and they drop police boats. They all have police written on it, and they invade Havana. And they have to, and the end of the movie is them on a race to Guantanamo Bay so they can be in U.S. territory.
Oh shit!
That is the energy.
I love movies.
That is the energy this movie needs.
It would have been around the
is-
same time.
Yeah, they came out around the same
Right?
time. That is the energy that this movie is lacking,
Like-
which is in part, I just want to talk about Bad Boys. But that's also the reason I'm bringing that up is this movie doesn't have that, it's not gleeful enough to, get into, the gleeful violence, but it's also not introspective enough to be a deep action movie.
It's kind of hollow.
It's a
Yeah.
weird lukewarm
It's just a
middle
ground program or action
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
It's-
I agree.
Because when I turned it on, I was expecting something like the 2003 Ben Affleck Daredevil,
Yeah.
something balls to the wall.
I
I was expecting the most early 2000s idea of a superhero movie.
This movie either needed to be grounded or heightened, and it's neither.
Yeah.
And so in this scene, they're in the house from Bad Boys 2, and they go into this big office, and at the
They
end,
walk up the big stairs and they see a couple.
inexplicably, they're on a balcony, but on the far ends of it.
And it's a couple. One of them is
Wait, don't say her name. Don't say her name, because I think it is so funny how this movie hides her identity.
They don't show her face for a
Yeah,
while.
it's 30 minutes where they're very specifically
Not
hiding
until the funeral.
the actress's face, and then it's a big reveal and she takes it off.
It has a music sting and everything.
Yeah, it's like, "Down."
yeah.
But then she ends up not being a huge part of the movie.
Yeah, she
And
does.
the actress is well known, but not the biggest actress.
But
ever.
we see John Travolta
Yeah.
and this
we see John
woman.
Travolta and this woman at the end on a
presumably-
balcony.
I mean, you
Santa
don't
Claus.
have to guess it's his wife.
Yeah, you figure out it's what.
Yeah.
And
the way
so
she reacts. at
Johnny
least she's
Boy
the
walks
mother.
out and he looks at them. She falls to the ground, and Travolta grabs her.
Yeah.
Next bit, I think they're just they're in the room, and he's like, "I want to know which of these scumbags killed my son." He's like, "Get Mickey." This is the
Yeah.
Quentin guy talking. We don't see Travolta again for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Pick him up." We cut to Mickey getting out of.
Well, we see Frank arrive at home, and there's in between the scene.
Yeah.
Is Frank goes back to his home, sees his wife, and he's like, "Where's what's his kid's name? Dead kid number 7.
Dead.
He's also missing. He has a daughter in the
Will.
comics also.
Will Castle.
Will Castle." So he's like, "Where's Will?" He's like, "He's where he usually is." Cut to backyard,
The dog
house.
What?
And it's supposed to be this cute moment where it's like,
it's kind of cute,
so,
but why this kid in the doghouse?
So hey, I think in this weekend we can go play fetch or something. It's like, "You said we wouldn't move again." It's like, "I know, but this is the last time." "You said the last time was the last time." It's like, "I did." And it's basically just a conversation about he's done for sure. He's like, "When you're old enough, I'll tell you why we had to move a lot." Then we are back to Howard and the son's death.
Well, first we see Mickey gets out of prison.
Yes.
Which, here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about the bail system, but if you're, if you were involved in a massive shootout, you're very clearly a part of it, charged with the crime,
carrying the big briefcase of money.
I would presume that you wouldn't typically be bailed out because they would be very aware you might be the next target. But this guy's just walking down the streets of Miami, immediately picked up by the Saints.
Yeah. It was very easy.
Next, we have him and Quentin Glass.
He's interrogating him.
He's interrogating
this office.
him.
And he's saying where is who set us up?
Yeah.
Who did that? And he's like,
"Did you do it?"
He's like, "No." And are they they're just punching him.
Yeah, they're just kicking him.
And then the door opens
Yeah.
and comes in John Travolta.
I
That's
think
Howard Glass.
Yes. I think there's a good line right before Travolta walks in where Quentin Glass is like, "I would kill you, but I do not want the karma of your death on my soul." And so he hands the gun to another dude.
Right. Jeff, do you think it's worth doing the hair ranking now, or do you want to wait till the end?
It's up to you. You're the hair ranking guys.
I know where it's going to go right away, so let's just cue the hair ranking.
Travolta walks in hair ranking music.
Cue it. Welcome to the hair ranking. So this will be pretty quick. It's decent hair.
It's okay.
I would say it's right along the blowout slick back.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like standard fluffy gel that's just make it look poofy and it's the regular hairstyle that we get in the 80s. It's like gelled back. Like, he's got a style to it. So I'm going to put this below blowout, above Mad City. It's going right along with blowout.
Right along with blowout.
Yeah, right below blowout, above Mad City.
Crazy. That puts it at a new number 14.
Yep. I mean, it's all right. It's good. I think it works for his character.
Yeah.
He's a high dollar top dog guy. That's pretty much all there is to it.
That was the hair ranking.
I think it's better when it's on fire, but we'll talk about that later.
Ah!
That's like that's like Jurassic World pterodactyl death level. How much he dies.
So like right at this point, Travolta comes in, and I was into his performance at first.
Yeah.
Because one of Travolta's great skills as an actor is enunciation. Mm-hmm. Like he's really good at like spacing the words out.
Yeah.
Like he just walks and he's like, "My son was killed, and I would like to know who did it." Like he's very good at every syllable, making it a meal.
Yeah. I feel that. And he plays this like, Broken Arrow Face Off. It's like, did you recognize me? Like, that's kind of how he plays. Whereas this one, it's just like, like my son was killed.
Yeah.
And I would like to know who did it and why.
He was tricked.
Like he just plays it very cool, suave, and just.
And as much as I do like him in this scene, this is kind of the beginning of what the problem I have is that like nowadays in the movies John's doing that we'll talk about later, which are ostensibly supposed to be dramas, like, your Gottis and your Speed Kills of the world. He's going big. Like, he's playing big, heightened characters, criminals.
Yeah.
He was playing big, heightened criminals in the 90s.
This is not a big character.
Yeah, this is not. And so in this one, he's playing it very brief and
very mild.
Very mild. And for me to want the Punisher to get this guy, and for me to be entertained by this movie, I need a big, entertaining villain.
Yeah.
And he's just not giving me that.
I think that's what Vincent D'Onofrio really brought in the Daredevil series.
Yeah.
Was at first he thought he was like cool, calm, and collected, but then you got these breakout moments of like, whoa, shit,
he's big.
He embarrassed me in front of her.
You embarrassed me in front of Vanessa.
Like he's literally big,
But then also big.
right? And then he has his big blow-ups.
Yeah.
And in this, that never happens.
Yeah.
He like yells once.
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
I want this to be like a Broken Arrow style bad guy.
Yeah.
John Travolta is losing his shit in this movie as this guy's hunting him down.
And there's opportunities for him to be in that place in the
Or like
script.
even the bad guy from the first John Wick movie. I'm blanking on the actor's name. I know he recently passed away.
Killed a guy with a
Yeah.
fucking pencil.
Yeah. This guy who's just like he's playing a heightened over the top mobster, and that's what this movie needs.
Yeah.
But Travolta walks in and he's like, "Mickey, I need to kill the person responsible for my son's death." And so he pulls a gun and he shoots another dude in the room who was supposed to be Bobby's bodyguard. And he's like, "You should have been with him." And then he pops him
He's
again
like,
in
he
the
told me it was fine. He's told me it was fine. Bam! And he
Yeah.
kills him again.
He's like, "All right, that's it." He's like, "No, I want to find out everything we know about this Otto Krieg character."
Yeah.
Cut to Puerto Rico.
Yep. Castle family reunion at Puerto Rico.
And who's playing his dad, Stuart? Because we meet the whole Castle family.
The whole Castle clan.
Well, I like to think that in a small little island called what was the name of the island in Jaws?
Puerto Rico.
No, the name of the island in Jaws.
Amity Island.
And Amity Island. This little small town sheriff.
He
who had
eventually
a-
retired.
He eventually retired. He had a shark problem, but he took care of it.
He retired to Puerto Rico.
He retired. He retired to Puerto Rico.
Because that's right, folks. Chief Brody himself.
Chief Brody from Jaws is Frank Castle Sr.
Roy Schneider.
Yeah.
Roy Schneider pops up for 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Literally 2 scenes.
He apparently is only in this movie because he is Jonathan Hensley's neighbor at the time. And Hensley popped out of his apartment or house or whatever and was like, hey, you're Roy Snyder. You want to be in The Punisher? He's like, sure.
And he really is just playing it like he just hopped off his, boathouse and came into the movie.
Yeah.
I get a vacation in Tampa, Florida. All right.
I'll take a day on that.
Yeah. So Roy Schneider is the dad of Frank Castle.
And so we spent some time with his son, his dad, all the family.
His wife. They're talking about we should have another baby. And this is when the kid gives him the shirt.
Yeah.
Because he was in the market and he's like, they said this wards off
scary shirt.
evil
They say it wards
spirits.
off evil spirits. And it's the Punisher.
And it's the Punisher shirt. Which means there's other people walking around with that shirt. Which doesn't make it special at all. That's like the thing that bugs me about like superhero stuff. It's it's got to be unique.
I bet if Frank Castle was just like, look at his collar. He's like made in Thailand or something. The Punisher logo.
So, that's where he gets a shirt, and, he's happy with his whole family.
Yes.
The end.
We cut back to the...
It's such a happy ending.
We cut to the funeral
How
of
much
Bobby
did the movie
Saint.
make? How much did the movie make, Jeff?
We're done.
We talked about the hair ranking. The movie is over. How much did the movie make?
So we cut back to Bobby Saint's funeral.
Oh, shit.
Mr. Salami Consigliere, or whatever his name is.
Quentin Glass. First name Mr. Last name Glass.
This is unhinged. Comes up.
This
He's
is
like,
an episode to just
and
have
he's
fun,
like,
guys.
he's like, we found the guy. And they're like, what guy?
Well, he just hands him this packet.
Yeah.
And it has all the
He's
information.
like, he's an FBI agent. His name's Frank Castle. And Travolta's like, we got to make him suffer.
And he's like, well, you're in luck because he just retired and he's in Puerto Rico at a film reunion. He's like, great.
Came back from the dead to die again.
He came back from the dead to die again. And then right as they're about to leave and settle the deal,
We get the big reveal.
We see, wait.
And the wife, his
Tilts
wife,
her hat up.
takes her hat off.
Music swells.
There's like, we push in. And it is Laura Herring. Noted, like, she was in Mulholland Drive right before this. Like, great actress. Moderately known. I'm not sure why she gets this highly dramatic reveal where they hide her for like 20 to 30 minutes of the movie.
And she says, his whole family.
Yes.
And Travolta just like looks at her and like, you sure? Yeah, that's what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, his whole family. Just like as if he wanted an extra side of dessert.
Yeah, like,
you know,
you want to get in on a plate of fries?
Yeah.
you want to get on a plate of fries? Should we get on a plate?
You want to murder a whole family?
You want to murder a whole family? You want to do it? Let's
Take out the cousins
We'll do
too?
it. We'll
Okay.
murder a whole family.
We'll do it all.
Okay. We're gonna get a plate of fries. Great John Mulaney quote. Thank you, David. So they set the hit out. We're back in Puerto Rico. They get there quick.
Yeah.
They're already
They're
there.
at this family reunion party. Roy Schneider's just talking with Frank Castle and like Frank in his study, and he's like, check out these guns. I got
collection of guns.
He's like, I got them redone so they'll fire faster.
Huh. That's like when you're in the video game and you're finding a lot of power-ups right before a boss match.
Yeah. and so
Look at these things you're going to use to avenge my death.
yeah, it's like when you're like I'm replaying the Halos right now. Halo Infinite's coming out next week.
I didn't know you were a Halo fan.
Big time. And so there's like a part where like, you're just walking.
Yeah.
And then you walk into a room and it's like, there's like a gravity hammer in the middle of the room. Like all these weapons line up on the side. I'm like, I don't remember this. What is this leading to?
And then you open up the next door and there's like 5 wraiths
like
and like a
50 brutes
scarab
coming at me.
and
You see like 5 boss health
hunters
bars show up.
and brutes and elites. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary times.
So yeah, that's pretty much what happens right here. And then
We cut to a boat
Yes.
and it's filled with these guys dressed in all black.
It's like that scene in Return of the King where like all the orcs are like rowing up to a skillet. And the one orc is no, it's before that.
I know,
The one
but-
orc is like, quiet.
Draw swords.
They all look like they're in different boy bands. They're all the
Yes.
bad boy from different boy bands.
Yes. See,
One of
all
them has long blonde hair.
One of them has
Cut to the hair ranking for that guy.
one of them's I think it's Johnny in just a no sleeve tee and like a cross necklace.
Yeah, he
And
does
like
have a no
Oakley
sleeve.
sunglasses.
Yeah.
There's
So,
like a bunch
so
of-
the Backstreet Boys Death Squad pulls up,
Backstreet Boys show up.
and it's supposed to be like this like haunting
Yeah.
montage of like cut to family having a good time,
Yeah.
cut to bad guys with guns walking up
Yeah.
the beach, cut to Frank Castle and Frank Castle Sr., Roy Schneider from the 1975 movie Jaws.
So I think
These Colt 1911s I got.
what happens next is terrible, but it's so funny.
No, it's not.
So they hear gunshots, and Frank turns around. And he looks at the window. He sees his mom like bleeding out on the ground. She's like, ah!
He's like, Mom?
No, he's just like, Mom?
Yeah.
And he and Roy Schneider are like unfazed about their mom just getting smoked right then and there. Like,
Well, I mean, one could say they just get into like instant reaction mode.
no, mom just got popped, and they're both just like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Fuck your mother, man.
Because then like all the mobs just come and they start killing all the family members.
Yeah.
It's pretty gruesome. And like they see mom get lit up.
It's a weirdly bloodless bloodbath,
Yeah.
though.
But it is still like brutal and
Yeah.
like terrible.
like you see them shooting kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
Jonathan Hensley says about this scene, he's like, starts off in the most like director thing ever. I had to ask myself intellectual
my
questions
God.
like, to what extent do crimes against a person become so unconscionable, so heinous, that even a person who does not believe in vigilantism can resort to vigilantism in a more just way? That was the equation for me. I told Marvel I didn't want to do the revenge story. I want to do the mother of all revenge stories. I want to ramp everything up. I can't really go further without doing spoilers here. The underlying events that give rise to Frank Castle's vigilantism are not from the comic. I invented a lot of that. I made it a lot worse.
Yeah.
Cool, bro.
So, Dave, in the comics, how is his family murdered in the Welcome Back Frank version?
Well, it's the same origin throughout.
Yeah.
It's him and his family are just kind of going on a walk through Central Park, and they
Okay.
walk in on a mob execution.
So it's like an accident thing. Instead
Yeah,
of
they just
intentional.
accidentally walk in wrong place, wrong time, and they get essentially no witnesses.
This isn't a tragedy of randomness. Or what yours is.
Yeah.
What that one is. That one's a tragedy of randomness where this one's a tragedy of like wrongdoing.
I'm reading
like
all these quotes from Jonathan Hensley. This dude sounds like he has the most like macho aesthetic. He says, I had to excise much of the influence from Welcome Back Frank because this would have been a 4-hour movie if I'd done it all. I was like, cool bro.
I mean, yeah, he did cut a lot of things out of like copycat vigilantes from it,
Yeah.
but like you didn't need that.
didn't have the money for it.
He barely
budget.
had the money for this movie in itself.
So yeah, it's open season for Frank's family.
Jesus.
Okay, here's one more thing. Here are the things that Jonathan Hensley says inspired this movie. Dirty Harry, The Getaway, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Godfather, Mad Max, and William Shakespeare's Othello.
Yeah, I saw that on the Wikipedia also, and I was like, excuse me?
Wonderful. So it's open season on Frank Castle's family. His wife and kid, Will, they are on the run. They're like hiding when this is all happening, and they try to get into a car,
They get into a Jeep and make it out.
and it's attached to a boat.
Yeah. Roy Schneider gets popped.
Roy Schneider does not last long in this fight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
He takes out maybe 2 guys.
Yeah.
And then he gets popped.
One for each barrel of their shotgun.
And then, this is where like your thing with your mom. This is my favorite thing. It's just like, Dad.
His dad gets stabbed in the back.
Yeah, and then he's like, Dad. And then he falls to the ground. He's like looking at his family, looking at his dad. He's like, oh, and he runs.
Takes his dad's gun and goes.
Yeah, he takes his dad's gun.
He gets on a motorcycle and starts chasing after the guys who are chasing after his family.
They did Roy Schneider, my boy, real bad. Look what they did to my boy.
I hope Roy Schneider got paid for his like 3 days of work on this.
Do you think it was 3 days?
It was probably pretty quick.
I think it was probably 2 at most.
They only had 52 days to film the whole thing.
So it turns into a chase scene.
Yes. The family, his wife and son,
They're in
in
a
a
Jeep.
car pulling a boat, chased by guys in a Jeep, chased by Frank in a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And like you really don't know how far away Frank is from all
Yeah,
this for a while.
The spatial geography is not well explained in this scene.
And like so they're on an island.
Yes. Supposedly.
They're not in Puerto Rico. They're on an island off of Puerto Rico.
Ish? I don't
Maybe,
know.
or just off of the coast.
Because you couldn't just like go to like a more populated area.
Okay, yeah,
and
because he
get
drives
help.
to a dock.
Right.
Like runs down
It's
the
like
dock.
Grandpa's boat.
Yeah.
Well, weren't they like trying to get to a more populated area, but then the car like flips because she
Yeah.
loses control of it?
maybe.
Sister, I got a question for you. What if he said, Grandpa's boat, and they run down, they look up, and it's the orca from Jaws.
Orca.
That's the name of the boat in Jaws, the orca.
Is it?
Well, that bit just like ground into the dirt.
I haven't seen Jaws in a while.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck me, I guess.
Just say the boat from Jaws.
Well,
Just say the boat from Jaws, Jeff.
No one remembers the name. They just remember that there's a boat. And they need a bigger
Jeff's
one.
really upset that this bit didn't work.
Furious.
Hey, you know what? But it wasn't a bigger boat that they found.
And also, do we actually see a...
Jeff's so
scared me out of my question.
He's so mad.
David, continue.
I was just going to say, I don't remember actually seeing a boat at the dock.
Yeah, I didn't see one down there. And so they're running, and
They get to the boat flips the car over.
And
'cause they shoot out the tires.
and Quentin Tarantino or whatever his name is runs them down in his Jeep.
Oh yeah.
I looked down when that happened, so I was very confused on how they actually died there for a moment.
You just see the car coming towards them, and then Frank comes over and they're laying on the ground, like roadkill.
So yeah, they just got run over and died.
Yeah.
And where did they like go down the dock and hide behind?
Yeah, the
like,
boat
the
went
shed?
down. The car goes down the dock.
Yeah,
and then
that was weird.
He doesn't see it down there. But
That
then when he
was-
looks back up, it's coming.
He runs up,
towards
it's like
him.
Maria.
And so this car's coming towards him. He gets shot in the leg.
Multiple times.
Yeah, he
He's
gets shot in the legs and knees, and
he's-
then eventually in the chest. And then they light him on fire.
Well,
They light the
so-
dock on fire with him on it.
Well, what they do is they drag his body, they punch him a few times, and then they bring him to the edge of the dock. And he says, "Howard Saint sends his regards," and then pops him in the chest, and then he falls
Just to
down.
be sure, they light the dock on fire.
And then they light the dock on fire. The dock is in flames, and then it ignites a gas tank, and then it blows up. But like the force of the explosion blows Frank's body off the dock into the water.
And so that happens, and then we cut back to Miami.
So
We're at Travolta's club.
Or is he
let's take
like
a quick pause. Like, what are our feelings about the murder massacre scene?
a little crazy.
yeah?
Is it a little over the top?
It's not gruesome enough. Like, not that I wanted to
Yeah.
see his family get murdered, but if you want to feel like furious, like this needs to be, like this whole movie, it doesn't go far enough in either direction.
Yeah.
This scene's a little over the top, but it's not enough over the top. But it's not grounded.
It's like
Right.
it's just poking its toe in everything it can
Yeah.
do instead of actually like fully diving in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it does cut away from a lot of
Yeah.
gunfire. Like you just see the guys chasing the family, then the camera zooms in on the bad guy shooting the gun, but doesn't cut to like a kid getting shot. You know, so yeah,
The whole thing just
because that is what I think it's important to talk about it because I feel like this scene is like the
impetus.
primary catalyst. It's like this is the catalyst for the entire
It's
film.
also
So if
maybe
it
the
doesn't-
last plot development until the end of the
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong, but it is like the catalyst for the entire movie.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't work, then
Yeah.
like the whole thing's not going to work.
So we're at his club, which I just want to point out. His name's Howard Saint, and his club's name is Saints and Sinners. It's good.
I didn't even know his club had a name. They just call it the club.
Yeah, there's a big sign that says Saints and Sinners. It's good.
The Orca.
You expect me to read?
Yeah.
You expect me to read when I'm watching a movie?
I think that's gonna be my thing now. Whenever Jeff tries to do a bit and it falls on its face, I'm just gonna say the Orca. Wait a minute. What? Did you buy this on
You bought this?
4K?
It's on HBO.
I bought this movie on 4K Ultra HD disc for this.
Why? No response. Just
Because
laughs.
I wanted it to look good when I watched it. And it did. It looked pretty good. Also, I was very surprised to find out there was a 4K disc of this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, so yeah, cut
so
back
Howard
to
Saint
Miami.
is told that they got Frank Castle and they're like, Frank Castle sleeps with the fishes.
I don't think there's that. The thing is, I don't remember, so they easily could have said that.
No, they just let him know. And then Travolta does something that I was like, okay, we're getting the performance I want from him. He pulls out this big ass pipe.
It's one of my notes is, why is he smoking a pipe out of
He pulls out
everything
this
he could be
massive
smoking?
pipe, and he's just like, it's so funny. I was like, yeah, give me more business, Travolta. I need business. I want you to do so much business right now. I want you to always be in a bowl of peanuts, smoking a pipe. Like, you got a funny hat or something. I don't know. I want
a funny
give
hat.
me some business, and then he stops doing business after that.
Yeah. I think this is when the resurrection scene. He comes out of the ocean.
Yes.
And he gets saved. So, a couple things here, just anatomically speaking. If the gunshots don't kill him, if the gunshot to the chest didn't kill him, if getting exploded didn't kill him, if drowning didn't kill him, then like bleeding out is gonna kill this motherfucker. Like,
But no, he gets rescued by
but how much time passes? Because like I'm pretty sure, at the most he would have died bleeding out.
Yeah, because like he like when like he gets exploded into the water, it's like midday. It looks like, and then when he's
Yeah.
getting out, it's like
sunset.
sunset. Yeah,
Motherfucker should have bled out. This entire movie is just him reliving like a fantasy from
before
beyond
he
the
dies.
grave.
But
I don't know.
so next time we see him, he has a full beard. He's healed up, and he's going back to the site of his family's massacre.
Yeah.
And he turns around to the guy who rescued him. And he's like, "You can't go where I go." And the guy's like, "Go with God." He's like,
God's
"God
gonna
has
sit
got nothing to
this
do
one."
with
No,
it.
he says, God's gonna sit this one out. I wrote that very specifically in a quote. He
And
says,
so,
"God's
and he
gonna sit
sees
this one out."
something in the sand. I don't quite know how it gets there.
yeah.
Well, yes, continue. But before we leave this scene, there's something I want to talk about. So he finds the shirt.
Yeah.
Also, he has a beard.
And
we didn't talk
he looks
about
like
this.
Jesus.
Yeah, but like,
He even has the Jesus
How
robes.
long was he healing up before coming back to the
they
island?
say it later on.
They say 5 months he was
Yeah.
gone.
It's gone 5 months.
Yeah.
I
So I
missed
think he was
that.
healing for 5 months.
They say like in one line in like a news thing where they're like, suspected dead man Frank Castle.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how Frank Castle is the worst fucking vigilante ever when he first comes back.
Yeah.
So he
yeah, he finds
puts
a shirt.
the Punisher shirt out of it. And then he's like looks at the camera, and then we cut back to Miami.
So the music in this.
Yeah.
This is one of my biggest problems in this was the music.
Yeah.
The music is too triumphant. You know what I mean by that? It's so victorious. It's like this should be like this is about the downfall of a man's morality. And so it shouldn't feel like heroic. But all the theme songs it's like and it's like what the fuck? Like, am I supposed to feel happy about this guy?
Am I
Like, his
hyped
whole
up right now?
family just died, and it's like, yes, a superhero was born, hooray! And it's like at the cost of his wife and child. Like, what the fuck, man?
Because I forgot if it was the composer or the director said that they didn't want it to make it sound like a traditional superhero score.
Well, they failed. Absolutely failed.
Somehow they failed at the basic task.
The most basic task.
Yeah.
But it is so heroic, and it's so like weird. Like, I'm just like, this is supposed to be a sad moment, and it sounds very triumphant.
But he has the logo now, so he's the Superman. He's the punishment
Fuck
man.
his family. He's the Punisher.
What if he's like, I am the punishment man.
And then the guy who saved him was like, no.
Please don't.
The Punisher.
The Punisher. He's like, I am.
Take out the ment. It's cleaner.
Shut up.
You like that?
Orca. I found it. I found my dig on you. It's gonna bug you
Well,
so
it's a dig
much.
on you that you didn't know what the orca was.
I think it's a dig on you that,
That
like,
you
the
knew
bit
what the orca
just-
was.
So
fail.
Frank Castle has
Back in Miami.
as far as everything is concerned, he's dead.
Yeah.
No one's aware he's alive. He has the perfect in to start taking out these criminals. He can be a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the first place he goes?
The courthouse.
The fucking police station,
Oh yeah.
where the police commissioner, his former partner, all of the news media are there.
Yeah.
And they're all like, is that Frank Castle? He's like, why haven't anyone been brought in for killing my family?
It's like 5 months and no arrest or
Yeah.
whatever. No one's been arrested.
Although we did skip over the introduction of the neighbors.
Yeah.
Is that before this?
Yeah,
I thought it was
because
right.
he goes to like, because at first I thought he found like an abandoned warehouse to set up in, and then they set up the neighbors listening in and being like, "Oh, I bet he's an artist."
Yeah.
because he's
setting
like
up his-
fixing his car.
He
or
turns his
something.
car into like a fortress
Also, can we talk about the names?
of the neighbors.
Pulled right from the comic.
In one first.
No.
Okay. No.
Let me pull this up.
Wait. I'm not forgetting what I wanted to say. We got it was the courthouse scene.
Yeah, the courthouse scene.
Right after we meet the neighbors, supposedly.
Sure.
God, you guys, I got so concerned with stopping that I forgot what I wanted to say. Continue with the neighbors.
That he's a bad vigilante by just publicly outing himself.
Publicly outing himself.
Yeah. He
I can't. I wanted to say something. I can't remember what
he
it was.
comes out and says, "Yep, I'm alive.
Mm-hmm.
This is me." So, but yeah, the neighbors.
Yes.
One of them is a hot woman.
Yeah, Joan.
And I say hot woman in the sense because that is literally all the movie.
her role in the movie.
That is
Yeah.
the role in the movie, is she plays the hot neighbor.
Yes.
And then there's the loser piercing guy.
Played
by Ben Foster.
Also, Joan's played by Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and after
Mystique.
X-Men,
Yeah.
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah, Mystique. But at this time, she's Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Must be said.
And Stamos. So, and then Ben Foster playing Dave.
Yes.
And then the name of the other neighbor.
John Bennett.
No, but what's his name? What's his
Bumpo.
Bumpo. They
And
named
The fat Italian guy, Bumpo.
Bumpo.
it's so much worse in the comics because you know how he's introduced in the comics? He's stuck in his door frame and Frank has to get him out.
Oh my god.
Poor John Bennett, man.
Oh
Rest
my
in peace.
God.
And like Joan's very different in the comics. Dave's essentially the same.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Oh, and he also has like a weird Hitler mustache in the comics.
So, and like,
They don't hang out. It's
yeah, well, I think this is like supposed to set up as like the three losers, and like the incorporation of Frank as one of them is like what they're trying to set up here.
Yeah.
Which, cool, I guess. If we spent more than 2 seconds with these people, which we see them sometimes, but we spend like very little time with them, and they're never of any help, except for Dave, kinda.
yeah.
Because he just gets tortured for the guy.
Yeah.
For allegiances he earned in no way, shape, or form.
Well, because later on he's like, no one's ever stood up for me before. And I think that's what they were trying to set up with that.
Yeah.
Because before, in the comic, he just kind of does that because he kind of puts himself in that situation. I'll
Yeah.
get to it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot pulled straight from the comics, but just like some context
Yeah.
changes.
So then I think the first move that Frank does in his revenge story is he kidnaps Mickey.
Yes.
And this is when we get a comical... Again, what's the tone of this fucking movie?
Yeah.
Pulled right from the comics again, this exact torture scene.
But like, okay, great, change it, because literally, I don't know if this guy's whole family was killed, so he's gonna become this like brutal murdering vigilante. Tortures a guy with a popsicle.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He brings Mickey in. He ties him up, and he's like pulls a blowtorch out. And he's like, "This will melt through flesh."
And your nerves will feel cold.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And so he
And you'll
starts.
just smell burning meat.
And then we see there's a like a
a
big old
steak.
steak on a frying pan next to him. And so he starts rubbing a popsicle up against Mickey while burning the steak and be like, "You want this to make it?" Like, no.
I guess it was because like he wanted him to be his informant or
Yeah.
something.
And so he gets all the information from Mickey, and then he like sticks the popsicle in his mouth and reveals what he just pulled.
He's like, "You're a mean man."
Yeah,
We're
he's like,
not a nice person.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what he says.
He very quickly just joins Frank because then he lets him down. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like the Saints."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll tell you whatever you need to know, man. Let's get the Saints." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
All right.
And all the while, the name Bumpo and Spacker Dave
Yep, Spacker Dave.
are outside, and they're like, "He's killing someone in there."
We should call the police. It's like, "Oh no, we don't want to get involved, man."
Yeah.
Like,
And so they go back inside.
trustworthy neighbors. This is when we get the gravestone bit, right?
Yeah.
Where he plays the, so again, you just said it, like the literally worst thing he could have
Frank
done.
had
outs himself.
fully had the ability. He could have come back unnoticed, snuck up to the castles or the Saints, and killed them all.
Yeah.
Easy. Instead, he's like, "All right, elaborate scheme initiate."
His month-long plan could have been like done in an afternoon.
Yeah, a day at best. Instead, this idiot he goes to his grave,
He goes to his
removes
gravestone
his gravestone,
with like
takes
a
it
tow truck
to
or something.
Howard Saint's golf course, and puts it on the ninth
This
hole.
was a one good like performance moment for Travolta. because we just see him go to the gravestone, storming outside or something, and we see him put a chain around the gravestone. Cut to next day. Travolta is on the golf course and he gets a call. He's like, "Hey, Howard, I think we got a problem," whatever. It's like, "Oh, don't worry. I think I know what it is." Camera booms down, reveals Frank Castle gravestone on the putting course.
Like, if Frank Castle could get there, he could have just been there with a gun. Shot him then and there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things this guy could have
planted
done.
a bomb.
Yeah.
Well, because he knows their schedule now, and I think this is when he has the idea to I'm going to make them kill each other.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
And that's when I write down again ... This is comical, not the right tone. It just I don't understand what this movie is trying to do or go for. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's it should be more threatening to do that than it is.
Yeah.
But no one's afraid of Frank Castle because he's not the
They don't know
Punisher
who he
yet.
is.
He's just a dude.
And again, the music is so when the camera booms down and reveals the gravestone, it's like "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's not like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's a gravestone of Frank
Your angry
Castle.
back alley Punisher.
So he goes home.
He
And
goes
we get
home.
5 more minutes of antics with the neighbors. But they're like, "I peeked up against the door. You think he's home?"
And he opens the door, and we see Dave and Bumpo just fall on each other.
Yeah.
Like the comical
Yeah.
Marx Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is when he robs Howard's bank, right? So he's doing all these little ploys just to kind of intimidation factors and trying to I don't know, he's not just going for the kneecap and then pop him execution style. He wants to but he's not a slow suffer either. I don't know what he's doing.
Because he messes with their money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
He goes
And,
to the top floor of this building, messes up the money laundering, and dumps all the money out the window.
Yeah.
Throws hot soup on someone and the person doesn't react. I don't know. That really bugged me. He just seemed more annoyed than boiling soup just got thrown at him.
So, and then we get a scene with Howard and some of guys that he's working with.
There's guys in Cuba.
A cartel. I think they're the cartel guys. Just whatever. And they're giving him trouble. It's like, "Hey, Howard, I'm money, man. This isn't good. You gonna take care of this?" And he's like, yeah, we'll take care of it, guys. You don't have anything to worry about. This is a one-time thing. When have I ever let you down? This is John Travolta doing his
and
mob
it was
boss.
a one-time thing, but it was a $50 million one-time thing.
Yeah. So then we're back at the apartment. Frank beats up the abusive ex-boyfriend of Joan.
Rebecca Romaine's ex-boyfriend who's trying to break into her apartment. He beats him up.
Talk to the mic.
He beats him up.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
And then
bring
yeah,
it
no.
closer to yourself.
Yeah. And then she's like, "You're Frank Castle, aren't you?" And he's like, "I used to be."
Yeah.
That's what he says. He says,
Yeah.
I used to. It's the Han Solo line.
Yeah.
Do you know the story about the day they filmed that scene from The Force Awakens where they're like, "You're Han Solo," and he's like, "I used to be." They probably went out to some Nigerian restaurant after rap, and one of the guys there was like, "You're Harrison Ford," and he's like, "I used to be."
Nice.
It's so good.
I love that. So then that's when we get a more formal introduction to all the neighbors. He stole their name, Dave with the piercings, Bumpo's the fat one, and I wrote, "Come on."
Yeah.
That's what I wrote down. Come on.
Yeah, mine is his name is Bumpo.
This is worse than Lieutenant Porkins in A New Hope.
Right?
The Porkins.
So then we get more Frank business when he tries to blackmail Quentin Glass.
Yeah.
Because he beats up this one guy and then it turns into a gay makeout scene.
So he gets pictures of every member of the family,
Yeah.
and
When he's
then
gonna
his
blackmail
scheme
them.
goes into effect, which is overly complicated.
Yeah. So that's
He learns that what's her name, Livia Saint
Livia Saint. Yeah.
goes to the movies every Thursday.
Yeah.
lot
And
of-
he takes pictures and all that stuff.
And so-
he plants. This is the fire hydrant thing, right?
Yeah.
So he goes to her car, hot wires it, takes off with it, but puts a fire hydrant there so the spot will be available when he gets back. And so he goes and he parks the car at another hotel where he calls Quentin Glass and tells him, come to this hotel or else I'll show this blackmail footage of you. But he parks it in a zone where he knows he's going to get a ticket on the car. But then he takes the ticket and he brings the car back to the movie theater, which now has evidence that both Quentin Glass and Olivia were at the hotel at the same time.
She's also carrying around like these expensive earrings just in the box in her purse.
Yeah. What's with that?
I don't know, but apparently reading the IMDb trivia of this, those aren't like fake earrings. Those are actually like real expensive earrings that they just used for this.
The fuck? Well, they could have sold those earrings and like got another day of shooting. Maybe
another day of shooting.
Get the Kuwait stuff in. Yeah. So I think that's when there's a diner scene.
Yeah.
Frank and neighbor and company are in the diner scene, and Frank's just eating, and then this guitar player walks in.
Yeah. Harry Heck Thornton. They don't use his last name in this, but that's him in the comics.
Harry Heck.
He doesn't play the guitar in the comics, so that was an invention for this movie.
And the thing is, he is an actual country music singer. This guy's not like an actor. I mean, he's been in movies, but he's not an actor.
Maybe that's why they added the guitar bit in it. It's like, oh, we got this guy. Why don't we just throw him a guitar?
Yeah.
Props to department. Throw this guy a guitar. And they give him a guitar. But he opens the case, and Frank's obviously like very cautious about it, but he actually pulls out a guitar and starts playing.
Yeah, he finishes the song and then he leaves.
Yeah.
And Frank's like, oh, God. And I was like, that was a strange scene.
But it's supposed to set up when Frank gets in his car and he's driving, and then
Harry Heck shows up and
starts shooting at him. But like Frank has this like Batmobile-esque like bulletproof, bulletproofing his car.
Just has to pull down like the shades, and all of a sudden he's good.
Yeah.
But then Harry Heck makes the logical choice and just flips the car over, and Frank can't get out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like Frank's like losing control and like drives over like a civilian car and flips it.
Yeah.
So
he almost hits a girl playing soccer in the road.
He's like, you cannot kill another girl, another daughter.
And then they get in like a bigger fight, but then Frank kills him with a knife.
Yeah.
That's the extent of that.
A knife that shoots out from the handle.
Yeah.
It's a knife.
What were they called? Like Bowie knives, but like
because he's like, you lost, Frank, or something like that. And Frank's like, try it. And he presses the knife and it shoots into his neck.
Also, again, pulled right from Welcome Back, Frank.
Wonderful.
I love that.
I think that's my big role here, is just to say, this is also from Welcome Back, Frank.
Welcome back, Frank.
Welcome back, Cotter.
And so after that failure,
Doesn't even react to that.
what?
I said, "Welcome back, Cotter."
Welcome back, Cotter. Good TV
Welcome
show.
back,
We're
Frank.
not. We're gonna cover.
Fuck you. You think we will?
Fuck you, think you will.
Remember that bit? That was a long time ago bit.
It was
like Orca.
Yeah. I wrote a note in my book around this time that says he just keeps not killing these people. He's not punishing anyone right now.
No, yeah, the Punisher is not punishing.
People are punishing him more than he's They almost thwart him like 5 times when he could have just killed them all in the first place.
Oh, and this gets close to my favorite bit, because then there's another scene where Frank torches more of Howard's money.
Yeah.
And then Howard's like kind of panicking at this point.
Yeah.
But this is where I agree with you 100%, where like he could have gone big.
Yeah.
Because he just lost more money.
He has
Laundering scheme is going under. The cartel guys are like getting in his face, and he's like, well, don't you forget, we got more guns. And then the guys walk away, and then Giovanni Glass like, I regret to inform you, sir, that we do not have more guns.
Yeah.
But like this could have been a scene where he like, like you said, goes over the top and does his antic thing.
He kind of goes a little big in one line in this that I like.
Which one is
where
it?
It's like the cut right to him.
Yeah, Mr. Glass says like, it's my duty to tell you, and Travolta cuts him out. He's like, it's your duty to make Castle dead.
Yeah. And that's when he says, call the Russian.
Call the Russian.
Which, oh my God.
That is my favorite scene in this movie.
Oh my God.
Because
oh my God.
He's also pulled right from Welcome Back, Frank.
What the fuck?
Costume and all. He talks a lot in the comic also.
Does not say a word.
Because like
this.
They got a wrestler to play him in this.
Frank had like helped the neighbors out. And so they make a little dinner for him because John Bumpo is apparently a good cook. And so
I lose 2 years of my life every time I hear that fucking name.
Wait till I tell you about. There'll be more Bumpo brought up in a minute.
No.
I got some good Bumpo facts for you.
No. That's just 6 years that I just lost.
Got some Bumpo trivia.
No, 8 years now.
Bumpo.
Oh.
Okay. And so Bumpo was good at cooking. So he makes a really nice dinner for Frank. And Frank comes in and eats it. And they try and pull the old switcheroo. He's like, I got dessert too. And he and Dave leave the room and they just try and
all
leave.
say what they're thankful for.
Yeah.
Because I think this movie really realized it, like, oh, we got to make Frank like maybe a little more like a person.
What are they all thankful for? I forget.
Alive and
Sober.
sober or something like that.
Dave's mom's
Rebecca
out of
Romaine says
jail.
she's thankful he's sober. Dave is glad his mom got out of jail. Bumpo's like, I'm glad there was a 2-for-1 deal on the Stromboli.
He's thankful for Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, he says Diet Pepsi. I'm like, Bumpo.
This is the dumbest movie.
Oh shit!
When are we getting Bumpo in the MCU?
Bring him back.
Bumpo after credits scene in Spider-Man No Way Far From Home.
I want to know what's the actor's name?
John Panette.
Where is he now?
Do you want to know?
I
Honestly?
want to know where
he's
he
dead.
is. No! Don't you? No, is he really?
Yeah. He's a comedian I actually really liked.
Jesus,
That was a
fucking
roller
Christ.
coaster of emotions
Okay.
in like 5 seconds.
In Bumpo's defense, John Panette's first comedy special is called "Show Me the Buffet."
Well, I don't really blame that because most comedians lean into.
Yeah.
If they're like
yeah.
bigger comedians, they lean into that.
So
But when a screenwriter really leans into that, and it's like, oh, so what's my name? Oh, so you're auditioning for Bumpo. It's like, oh, okay.
So they're thankful for Diet Pepsi. Bumpo and Dave leave the room to get ice cream, and Frank's like, "You guys don't have to go, Joan. I'm sorry, but I'm not cut out for you. I'm my own guy." And so Frank leaves, and he goes to his room, and Joan, Dave, and Bumpo put on some opera music and start dancing. And so
Perfect
meanwhile,
music for this scene.
Frank hears a knock at his door, and he turns around, and he opens it up, and it's like Dave or something. Be like, "Are you sure you won't come?" And he shuts the door. He hears another knock. He walks over. Fucking giant fist crashes through the
massive Russian dude.
Yeah.
Pretty much Ivan Drago busts through the door.
Ivan Drago, but like on more steroids.
Yeah. This guy played by Kevin Nash, the wrestler. And he just like, like grabs Frank.
Literally, all he talks and just like.
This is tonally the strangest scene in this movie.
Right.
It
Because it's
is.
so funny.
It is.
But like Frank is getting murdered.
It's like also again like everything from it's pulled from the comics except for like the Russians like dumb dialogue about how he wants to get autographs from the X-Men and hang out with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And also, have you guys heard the story of what happened during this fight scene?
In the movie?
Yeah, during the filming
No.
of this fight scenes, because like he comes in, he knocks Frank around. Frank eventually grabs the switchblade from Joan's abusive boyfriend and stabs him in the shoulder. There was a screw up in the props department, and he actually stabbed the wrestler on set.
Oh shit.
Jesus fuck.
And for compensation, he had the crew buy him a beer.
Well, in this time of age of discussing of prop screw ups, I don't think that's probably a good thing to do.
Right.
So yeah.
David, you've worked in the props department.
Yeah.
You've had experience.
Mm-hmm.
Where was the AD? Like, aren't you supposed to like grab the knife to make sure it's not the fucking real one?
Right.
Jesus Christ. Oh, Christ.
Ugh,
This industry is broken.
terrible.
I mean, I'm sure like the dude's a fucking big guy.
Yeah.
It's like a toothpick went into his shoulder or something. Probably like rub some dirt on it. Let's move the scene. You know, like he might have been that kind of guy. But like, good God, if that was like an actual actor, like I'd be like, I'm not filming anything else today. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
And so this scene's like full of so many like comedy gags where like
Yeah.
Frank's getting choked to death and Bumpo's like at the window, but he's looking away, and when he turns back to look at the window, Frank gets like knocked to the floor.
Frank literally gets beat up with a toilet in this.
Yes.
Yeah, and like
They're crashing through walls.
how many comical fight scenes do the main character grab like a pot or pan and like try to hit the villain with it? That happens in this fight scene.
This scene is so funny, but like Frank's gets almost murdered in it. It's very strange.
It's like the most beat up Frank gets in this whole movie.
Eventually, they crash through into the kitchen room, Bumpo's room,
Yeah.
and Frank is able to defeat the Russian because he grabs a boiling oil off the oven and
Throws it in the guy's face.
and ruins Bumpo's stew, mind you.
Yeah.
Just completely ruins it.
And his face is like totally like orc level
He's like,
gross.
"Brrr," and then Frank gets up and jumps down the stairs with him.
And I guess the Russian breaks his neck on the way down.
And the Russian
Yeah, they
dies.
don't really have a close up of it, but in the wide shot, you can like very briefly see like his neck, like it's a dummy.
Yeah.
And the dummy's
It looks like his head did like a full 360.
yeah, it does. It really does though. So, but there's no like close ups of it at all. So it's just like we just have to assume that when they fell down the stairs.
And here comes the Bumpo trivia. In the comic, it's Frank gets kicked into Bumpo's apartment, throws a hot pizza at him to burn him, and to which then Frank then can knock him down, and then he
Bumpo's
throws Bumpo on him and suffocates him under Bumpo.
No.
It's this shot of Bumpo over him, and he's like, "How long have we been here, Bumpo? Maybe like 20 minutes. Give it another 10. Okay." And it's just them just on top of him.
Did they just have Bumpo fart on him too, just to get the good?
Jesus fucking Christ.
And I think that's the last
I'm
time we
looking
see
at the
Bumpo.
comic panel, and he's not lying. Literally, Bumpo is just suffocating this guy with his stomach. It's like,
Oh, Jesus
hey,
Christ.
you know what it's like? It's like what Joaquin Phoenix does to the Roman emperor in Gladiator when he forces his head onto his like kilt thing and suffocates him that way. It's like that, but Bumpo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bumpo. It's like that, but fucking Bumpo.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
And so right
How much
after
longer this movie do we have?
Not much.
they pull Frank upstairs, and Rebecca remains like stitching his wound and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then they hear
Quentin
a
shows
door
up.
shut, and they look outside and they see a bunch of mobsters and Quentin show up.
Quentin and all the mobsters.
And we get what is the most infuriating fucking scene of this movie. Frank hides in like a little compartment underneath his floorboards.
Yeah, like an
With
elevator
Joan.
service shaft or
And
something.
Bumpo and Dave just sit there. They're just sitting in Frank's room. Fine. These mobsters come in, and Quinn's like, "Where is he?" And they sit there silent. These guys could have gotten off scot-free if they'd just been like, "He was here. He told us he'd kill us if we moved."
yeah.
They could.
Yeah.
They could have. Instead, they're just like, "We're not telling you anything." And Dave like makes this big show about being a hero, and then he gets all of his piercings ripped out, and he like bleeds out.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't die. He just gets his piercings
But
ripped
and
out.
Bumpo just sits there the whole time and says nothing.
Which, like, yeah, that whole scene was really dumb.
Like I was just like, for the love of God, just say so. Just say anything. Like I don't know where he is. He ran
because
out.
they did say he's like, "I don't know anything," and then they're like, "I don't believe you."
Yeah.
Because like that's what happens in the comics. Also, like they show up, they're like, "Where's the Punisher?" And Joan's like, "I don't know where he is." He just kind of stays quiet and does his own thing. And then they go up to Dave's door, and Dave just immediately goes, "I'm not going to tell you anything about the Punisher. There's not a damn thing you
Yeah.
can do to make me." And they're like, "We didn't even know you knew." All right.
Well, now we know you know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. We get the gruesome scene where they rip all his piercings out. Need not talk more about that.
Yeah.
Eventually, Frank wakes up. He gets out of his little hidey hole. There's only one mobster left. And we get the gnarliest kill of this movie. Where Frank goes up to a big old paper cutter and removes the blade and just lodges it in the guy's brain.
There was apparently going to be a close up of that, but the Ratings Association was like, "No."
You cannot do that.
For an R-rated movie?
I think because like they already did like the family massacre, it was like just too much.
This movie is rated R for pervasive, brutal violence, language, and brief nudity. Fun fact.
No blood.
No blood.
I mean, there's a little bit of blood, but not too much gore.
And so because
Not like Netflix show blood.
because they hurt his friends, Frank's like, tonight's the night I end this. And
These
so
aren't your friends.
he puts his ridiculous scheme into motion. Ridiculous scheme. He does the same thing again where he moves the car. And he calls Quentin and blackmails him again. Sends him to a random clothing store. Meanwhile, he moves Livia Saint's car to the Wyndham Hotel again.
Why does he move her car again?
I don't know.
Because he already has the parking ticket.
Yeah. So he moves the car there. He gets the earrings, and he puts one of the earrings
On Quentin's bed.
Oh, no, he doesn't go to the Wyndham Hotel again. He goes to Quentin's house, which has like a weird number 4 in front of it.
And he puts her earrings on Quentin's bed, and then puts her car back, and then has Mickey, who's working for him. I feel like Charlie and It's Always Sunny with like explaining Pepe Sylvia.
Yeah.
But and then he has Mickey tell Howard he found the parking ticket at the Wyndham Hotel the same night that Mickey earlier claimed that he saw Giovanni Ribisi at the Wyndham Hotel.
Wait. Giovanni Ribisi. and Giovanni Glass.
With glass.
You gotta turn you.
Savages. We've been talking about Giovanni Ribisi for weeks.
I don't know why I can't get this bit out of my head, but I fucking love it.
And so now Howard is suspicious, so he goes to Quentin's house.
Park is a mad
Gets
man.
there and finds Quentin's not there, though he said he was. He finds Lydia's earring on Quentin's bed. Quentin comes back from the blackmail thing.
Jesus
gets there,
Christ.
finds Howard in his house, and then Howard kills Quentin because he thinks he's been sleeping with Livia.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Also,
And then he wraps him in a rug.
yeah.
That was a good bit.
Yeah.
A good
We'll
bit.
talk
is coming
about
up.
it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Also, when he's in that like clothing store, the background music in there is the same background music from the elevator in Spider-Man 2.
I love that. I love that you know that. That's
So
Of course I know that. You think I'm going to know important
so
things?
it's a little tight in the crotch. So Toby says.
Yeah.
So he after he kills Quentin and wraps him up in the carpet, then he goes back to his house where Livia comes home, and he's like throwing her stuff out.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? And it's like, you don't think I know about you and Quentin? And he confronts her about it.
She's like, I know nothing.
And then eventually he like
Puts her in his car. Drives her
to a bridge.
over the railroad tracks, picks her up, and throws her onto the track, where she then gets smushed by a train.
Yeah.
And he's killed his best friend and his wife
all on the same night.
all on the same night. And he's like, ah!
And he's like, I got to go back to the club. I want a martini.
Yeah.
And like, this is good Travolta bit, right?
Yeah.
This is good
This
Travolta.
is good. I wish it was this the whole movie.
Right.
Like, I want where he's at right now. He's dialed to like an 11. I want him dialed to 11 the whole movie. And so he goes back to the club, and his son's like, where's Mom? Where's Clinton? And he's like, Quentin got wrapped up in something, and Mom took a train. She won't be back. Yeah. It's good. It's really good.
That's good. That was good. Just the way he says it,
Yeah.
it's good. Then it's Frank Castle getting prepped for war.
Narrating the entire
And he
time.
does like that little weird monologue thing, right?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
he's like number one. Well, the thing is, he's
writing a manifesto,
He's reading his
essentially.
numbers. Like, he's like, here are the rules that I live by. He says 1, and then like 20 minutes go by.
Yeah, because then...
And then he says number 2. And you're like, oh, I forgot we were
like,
doing this.
he says number 1 before Vincent Saint kills everyone he knows. And
what
then
was
it's like...
number 1?
That's something about, like, prepare for, if you... prepare for war.
Yeah.
If you want peace, prepare for war.
Yeah.
Number 2 is like, pick up eggs at the supermarket. It's like 3 cups flour.
Shit, wrong list.
I really don't remember what his rule book was.
Yeah.
It was like number 2 is like, in some extreme cases, the law is not adequate.
Yeah.
And you know what? Fuck it. Like, this could have been like an actual good moment if the movie had taken the stance of, this is not a good guy. Like, because he's literally writing a manifesto like a mass shooter would be. And I mean, this would have been kind of an interesting take if it had been in that tone of like, all right, number 1, if you want peace, prepare for war. Number 2, show no whatever it is. But like, it's basically the Batman monologue of like,
Yeah.
I am vengeance, I am night, I am Batman.
Well, because like he even specifically says at some point, like, this isn't about vengeance anymore. This is about punishment.
Yeah.
right, yeah. He's like, I am the Punisher.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
am Mr. Punishment.
and again,
I am Mr. Punishment.
and then more weird superhero music that keeps like engulfing the whole space. Just the music sucks in this. It's horrible. So then taking the law in his hands. So then he attacks Howard's house.
Yeah.
He goes into full assault mode.
Yeah.
No, he attacks the club.
Which is in the house?
No,
No.
his house is severed. We don't see the house again because they have to use unbad.
And like the first thing he does is
Right.
like we see him setting up like a ton of personnel mines or something.
Right.
He puts all these. He gets the club first.
Yeah.
And sets all the mines up, and then he leaves and comes back.
That's fucking weird.
And so
Also, he's driving Harry Heck's car for this
Yeah.
entire thing because his Pontiac got totaled.
So, like, I wrote down he goes full Rambo.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kevlar works that way.
he just starts mowing down these thugs.
And he's getting shot left and
Yeah,
right.
we see like
no reaction.
stuffing flying out
Point
from him.
blank range with a shotgun. And it's like, Kevlar doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like literally like the Terminator.
Yeah.
Like just mowing down these guys.
He also
Not-
uses like a bow and arrow for a while. Speaking of
Yeah.
going full Rambo.
That's what I wrote down. He's going full Rambo because he's literally doing a bow and arrow. Why?
Wants to be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Silencers aren't a thing.
Yeah. And so he
Well, because he has compensators on his guns. He can't have a compensator and a silencer.
he
I know
pops
nothing
he pops a
about
bunch
guns.
of fools. Howard and his son are the only ones left. Right.
I wrote down bombs and shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Bobby's dead. Johnny is still there. And
Johnny's
so-
like underneath a book
yeah,
shelf or
He's
something.
pressed by both. So Frank gets a mine, ties a string to it, and then attaches it to Johnny's hand. And if Johnny lowers his hand, the mine will go
Yeah.
down.
He's like 8 pounds of 8 pounds, nothing much, but
Hold
when
it
it's
for like a
this,
few hours.
a hell
it
of a
becomes
workout.
Aggravating. Yeah. Yeah.
And so Frank follows Howard out. John Travolta.
he's like
"Arr,
cowering
arr."
away, and he's like, you killed my son.
And then Frank turns around. You hear,
And then you're oh, boom.
and he's like, both of them.
great moment.
It's so good. I love that.
And that's when like it turns into like a Western draw.
Yeah.
Right?
Where Travolta pulls the gun, but obviously Frank gets the draw and like
Yeah.
shoots him. So then Travolta is on the ground, wounded, weeping.
Yeah.
And so then he ties his ankle
To a car.
and then puts the car in like drive
Puts it in neutral.
or in
and
neutral.
pushes it forward.
And then it starts dragging Travolta away
He lights it
into
on-
this junkyard.
He lights the car on fire.
I think it's like
Well,
a
it's
car
like-
dealership or something.
Yeah, it's like a car dealership. First off, the bombs blow up
Yeah.
side by side. And like some debris gets on him, but it's not like really doing
Yeah.
much to him. He's just getting dragged
Yeah.
on his car. And then
Travolta's like,
eventually
"Ah,
he's like, "Ah!"
He sounds more annoyed that he's being engulfed in flames than anything. Like it's a minor
this is not a fun
inconvenience.
thing to be doing right now. And then eventually the car that's
no.
dragging him blows up.
Yeah.
He catches on fire.
He's still alive. He's like, ah.
The trunk lands on him, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then like the car flips and then it crushes him or something.
And it sets off a chain reaction of all these cars being lit on fire. We cut to a super wide shot from a helicopter, and what is the car dealership lit up as?
It's a flaming inferno of the Punisher
Punisher
logo.
sigil.
I have a note for that where it just says "God bless the early 2000s," because like this is on par with Daredevil writing his logo in gasoline.
I want to know, how long did it take him to set that up?
How many mines does he have?
Earlier they said he's an artist, and I'll tell you, the man,
He's
he
good
could,
at
he
one
could have
thing.
been like punishing people during that time. Instead, he was rigging up so much of gasoline and mines. In
Do you
these
ever
cars.
think a cop car in the broad daylight was driving and they see a guy pouring gasoline and mine's like, oh, hold on, Frank, let's pull over. He's like, excuse me, sir. Dude, Frank Castle's pouring gasoline. And mine's like, yeah, what's up? He's like, what you doing here? Just washing the cars down.
Yeah, that's an interesting hose.
It's a very interesting hose to be doing that with. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I'm an artist. Oh, all right, never mind, sir.
It's an art project. Oh, okay. Well, send some photos when it's done. And then drives away. Like, good God. And then again, more victorious music. I just wrote down, like, I eventually wrote down, this is anti-Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
Whereas the Thin Red Line shows, like, supposedly, like, heroic actions in war, but it's sad music put underneath it. This is showing depravity on screen,
Yeah.
but with victorious hero music attached to it. So fucking off kilter, man.
And like This is the same thing as the scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Batman shows up to Gordon and is like, light it. And he lights it and the Batman symbol appears on the bridge.
Yeah.
It's like, how long was Batman up there
There's
spraying
there's
spraying
a
that
nuke
gas?
in this city that can go off any
Yeah,
minute.
Batman could be hunting down the nuke. Instead, he's like, I need to make smart. And then
It's branding, man.
She'll come for her.
So
Of course, it's me, Mr. Wayne.
Frank goes to his apartment.
Punishment must be more severe.
I'm gonna get the punishment man after you.
Punisher.
So, also, who wins in a fight? Frank Castle or Batman?
Batman.
Kill.
I don't know. It'd be even fight.
Yeah.
I think Batman.
They have fought. There's been Punisher versus Batman comics.
Yeah, and Batman beats Deadshot, and he's basically the same character.
I mean, the Punisher's also fought Archie from Archie comics. I'm not making. He's fought Eminem.
He's like, gee whiz.
Kinda. There's a shot of the Punisher with like a gun right up to Archie.
Jesus.
Gotta love comics, man.
This is so good.
Frank goes to his apartment, and then he points a gun to his head like he's going to commit suicide. And as horrible as this is going to sound, guys, I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, do it.
Yeah.
Shoot. Go on. Be the
But
best
then
ending.
he has a vision of his wife telling him no, and so he doesn't. He's like, I realize I am to become the punishment man.
Wasted. And then he
moves
does,
out.
He does the whole thing. Oh, I love it when he's leaving the apartment. Joan's like, where are you going? It's like, I have work to do. And
He's
it's
like,
like,
check the papers.
check the papers. You'll know what I mean. She's like, under what section? Obituaries.
And
Someone
then
felt really proud about that line.
and then the movie ends, and it
Call
starts
me the
playing.
Yeah. He leaves money for all three of them.
Yeah.
Bumpo has money for some more Diet Pepsi. So what are our thoughts on The Punisher, gents? Very strange movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange Travolta.
I mean,
Kind of bland.
Yeah,
this movie, I did not know what tone this movie was going for.
exactly.
The whole entire time, like, the music sucked horrible. I really think, I'm gonna gotta be careful when I say this. 40% of its problems could have been fixed with the music. I really think so.
I think if the music had been more on point, Travolta had locked into a more heightened tone, I think those things would have made this, like, I think it's someone who said, I think some actors played a supervillain and said, these things are only as good as the bad guys. And Travolta's is not reaching that level in this
Yeah.
movie.
I agree.
And I also feel like, this is the first time we've watched a movie since the beginning of the Travolta run, besides cameos, where Travolta doesn't really feel like a presence in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like the type of roles he's doing now, where, like, this isn't a showy role. This isn't a big John Travolta role. This is like he's playing the heavy in a movie to be killed by the new kid on town, Thomas Jane or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this feels like the beginning of, like, Travolta can play second fiddle now. He's not the lead anymore. He still has a few more gasps of being the lead coming.
Could you imagine if Travolta was the Punisher in this, though?
No, I can't.
cannot.
I can't.
Physically cannot.
I really can't.
It would have been a phenomenal movie to watch, though.
I mean, pretty much it's what
I'm not sure about that.
It's pretty much I Am Wrath.
Yeah.
Have you seen the posters for I Am Wrath, David?
No, I have not.
I mean, it's just like a usual dumb action poster.
Is he like kind of 3/4 away, turned away from
Yeah,
the poster?
it's
Hell
exactly
yeah.
what it is.
No, so here.
Oh hell yeah!
So this article's just called "We Need to Talk About These I Am Wrath posters," and we'll talk about this article again when we cover I Am Wrath. Here's the first one. Here's the second one.
Why does his face look photoshopped?
Right? So why does the font keep changing for the title?
Every one of them is different. Every one of them is different. We'll post those when we cover I Am Wrath, of course. But
yeah, miss for me.
Very hollow.
I would say, Travolta has some good moments in this. He doesn't ever go all the way, but he has some good moments in this. There are some action sequences that can be entertaining, not in the right way though. Like the Russian fight scene, I'll watch that shit every
That's
day.
phenomenal.
That's fucking great. So like, I'll give this a solid 4 out of 10. That's what I'd probably give this. I give this a 4 out of 10.
Probably about the same.
Yeah.
Although, did you guys know this has a unofficial sequel on YouTube?
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Oh, all right.
Oh
Then.
no.
It's not bad.
Punisher Dirty Laundry.
What?
Babe,
So this movie comes out. It's not a major success. It makes $54 million on a
30 million?
$33 million budget. So it doesn't.
Domestic disturbance was $75 million.
Yeah, which
Jesus
is insane.
Fuck.
Insane.
It's like whenever we think about
We watched this
low
movie
budget,
with-
high
we-
budget movies.
We watched this like low rent domestic disturbance. I don't know if you've listened to that episode, but it's like this low rent like thriller with John Travolta and Vince Vaughn. It cost $75 million. There's like one stunt in it. This movie's 33. It's insane.
Right?
It's so weird.
So this movie comes out, doesn't really make a lot. So they don't make a sequel. They were planning on making a sequel. They kept trying to make a sequel, and they're like, the second one's gonna be the one where it pops off. Nice try.
That eventually turns into like Punisher
It kind
Warzone.
of it turns into development hell because this movie gets a poor critical reception as well, and there's not really a hunger for anyone to work on a sequel to this.
I mean, it didn't impress anybody. It didn't impress audiences. It didn't impress.
It has
critics.
a lot of people point out the same things that we have, that it's not silly enough nor is it serious enough. It's this ugly middle ground. Like it tries to be an homage to the urban revenge movies of the 70s, doesn't quite get it. So it just falls apart. They do make a reboot 4 years later. Punisher Warzone, which has Ray Stevenson as the Punisher. That was directed by Lexi Alexander.
Wayne Knight's in that also.
Wayne Knight is in that as Microchip.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. Punisher Warzone is also not a huge success, but it does have a lot of admirers. A lot of people like that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Warzone.
Which is also like the name of like a popular run of comics for the Punisher.
But after 3 Punisher movies, none of them being major success, you think they might just like take a step back, which they do.
Yeah.
Thomas Jane does make the Punisher Dirty Laundry short, which premieres at Comic-Con. It's a 10-minute long short film. You can watch on YouTube. We're not talking about it because John Travolta's not in it.
Correct.
But it does exist. It's out there, and I've heard good things about
Ron
it.
Perlman.
Ron Perlman's in it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the IMDb of it right now. It's got an 8.1 IMDb score at a 9,500 views.
Coming off this movie, the one thing that everyone agreed on was that Thomas Jane was a pretty good Punisher.
He wasn't terrible.
Yeah, like he didn't blow me away in this movie. He's a good Punisher. He got the job done, and I would have like seen a better version of this movie with him in it.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what Dirty Laundry is, just like a good like Punisher moment.
Yeah.
It's like a little Punisher snapshot.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But then eventually the Punisher finally finds his safe ground when John Bernthal plays him in Daredevil, the Netflix show, and then he gets 2 seasons of his own show, and then it's canceled while they figure out what to do with those characters. So that's the
Rumors aplenty of what to do with those characters.
Yes. Rumors aplenty in the next week.
Right.
Maybe.
Wait, sorry, I missed that. What?
We'll talk after we. I mean, yeah, we'll just say no, it's coming out next week. Yeah. There's a rumor that the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, is going to pop up in Hawkeye, the TV show next
okay.
week, and then Daredevil, and then Charlie Cox Daredevil.
It's going to be in the Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man.
There's also apparently rumors that he's going to be also in She-Hulk, since that's a legal drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is when the Internerd's coming out on Travolting.
I got to be real. I haven't been keeping up with any of the Disney Plus shows.
You watched What If, didn't you?
I did.
Out of all
That's
of them
very
to
strange
watch,
that you watched What If.
No, I did watch What If, but I watched it like a month after it came out.
Yeah.
Just because of the Ultron becoming basically a god scene. I saw that one clip on YouTube, that Ultron at the Infinity Stone. I was like, well, now I got to watch all the What If things. Because someone told me you have to watch all of them because they all carry into that What If finale. Which I watched it. It's dumb. It's bad. Sorry. Didn't like it.
What If's okay. I liked a few episodes.
I did watch the Winter Soldier Falcon show. Again,
Yeah, I wasn't big on that one. Loki's really good.
Loki was...
Wait, you watched Loki?
I watched Loki.
You just said you didn't watch any of them, and now you
No, I
revealed you
didn't.
watched 3 of them.
Not
There've
the
been
most
5.
recent ones.
Okay, so you haven't seen Hawkeye. Okay, the most recent 3 ones have been Hawkeye, What If, and Loki. You just said you watched 2 of them.
have you just not watched WandaVision?
I think that's the
No.
only one you haven't watched.
No, the only one I haven't watched is Hawkeye.
Have you watched WandaVision?
Yeah.
So you've watched all of them except for Hawkeye.
Yeah, you've seen.
He's just,
90%.
this man's like, I'm not keeping up with the Disney Plus shows, and then reveals he's seen
Hawkeye's
all
not
of
even
them.
done
Well,
yet, so you've
wait a
actually seen more like
second.
98% of
What
them.
other Disney Plus shows have come out? Because
That's
there
it.
been a lot of Star Wars ones.
Yes.
There was two. There was a Star Wars animated show, and then Star Wars
Mandalorian.
animated. Yeah,
I watched season 2 of The Mandalorian.
yeah. You
Book of Boba Fett hasn't come out yet, right?
comes out in
Correct.
like 3 weeks.
A lot of things have been announced, but not a lot has come out.
So maybe that's why I think I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of marketing for all these shows, but I just
Yeah,
haven't-
you just revealed you've seen all of them,
Except for Hawkeye.
except for
so
Hawkeye,
I
which
will
is still
say-
is still airing.
okay. Let me rephrase. Like none of the Disney Plus shows have wowed me at all.
Okay.
Winter Soldier, Falcon was Loki was Like I wasn't super wowed by it. Like everyone apparently I missed something when like what was it, Kang guy or Kang? What was it?
King the Conqueror, yeah.
Kang the Conqueror was apparently like, oh my god, guys, it's Kang the Conqueror. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
I mean, like, yeah, the same thing happened when like Thanos was introduced at the end of Avengers.
The reason Loki is good is because it's a deconstruction of Loki, and the
Yeah.
end of it is Loki getting to just meet his writer. Like, I don't care about Kang the Conqueror and like the larger, like he's gonna be in the next wave of movies. Like that's fine, but I'm like, that movie, that whole show is Loki trying to figure out why he keeps losing and why he keeps being made a bad guy when he doesn't want to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he finally just gets to the end of time and meets his writer. He meets like the Kevin Feige or the author of his story, and is like, why is this like what is the point of this? And has a conversation about why he keeps being forced to be the bad guy.
Yeah, just like what is destiny in this?
But then I didn't see it as that deep, only because then what was the other Loki? Sylvie.
Well, because she doesn't even know
Because
what
she
her
was forced
crime
into the
was.
same thing.
Yeah, she was told
And
there was
we-
something wrong with her, but she doesn't know what it is. Her crime is existence.
Anyway, we can talk about Loki later. Well, let's finish up with the Punisher.
Sorry.
No, because I'm about to I can get into a long discussion about this.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So we talked about the post.
Yeah.
About how it did not do well.
Yeah, did not do well.
It did fairly decent in like DVD
Yeah,
sales.
it sold 2 million DVDs, which is huge for the time.
I imagine it was just a lot of confused grandmas being like, my grandson wants the new Marvel movie.
It has a 4K, which I have inexplicably.
It makes sense that their DVD sales were great.
Yeah,
They would go all out.
I'm contributing to it, but it doesn't get a sequel, and it kind of just it's another ding for Travolta, and it's a weird place where he's at in his career. He's not the Ayer anymore.
But I think he takes a real chance the next movie.
Yeah, Stuart really liked our next movie we're covering next week.
How would you know? I haven't talked about it yet.
Oh, I have second thought.
Yeah.
So David, any final thoughts on the Punisher? Anything you want to get out?
Nothing too much, I would say. The Punisher's always just been a weird character for me, just because like I'm like aware of him,
Yeah.
but I never read any of his stuff as a kid for obvious reasons. And like they always try to put him into like kids media, like he's in the Spider-Man animated series
Yeah.
with a bunch of laser guns. He's just the character that like Marvel doesn't quite know what to do with a lot of
Yeah.
the time. Like he's good for a brief moment, but never an ongoing.
And then he became like a symbol for like right wing militia
Yeah.
groups.
Oh.
And Marvel
Yeah.
and Marvel like has actively
I
tried to
remember
remove
that.
that from
Yeah.
it, but at the same time it's like, how can we do this without
because-
getting too political?
Yeah, because like they bought into the fact that like troops were using his
Yeah.
logo for a while. Also, like a weird thing because like the when that started, it was that guy who got the American Sniper book and movie,
Yeah.
and Punisher previously in the comics was referred to in Vietnam as the American Sniper.
Yeah.
So I
Whoa. Wait, so this is what was the American Sniper's name, guy?
Chris Kyle.
Chris Kyle. Really?
Punisher has
Yeah.
a really strange political history.
Wow.
yeah, because like they just he lives in this area where like conservatives love him because like he's the Second Amendment come to life essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. God damn, I never thought of it that way though.
It's really hard to talk about the Punisher without getting a little political.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
like in his original conception, the original creator of the Punisher is a very liberal guy, shockingly.
yeah.
And has like been trying recently to recapture the imagery of the Punisher for good rather than evil.
Yeah, like
But it's hard because the character just punishes people.
yeah, it's
And he takes the law into his own hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very much of that like the government isn't doing enough type of thing, which is a very conservative stance.
true. It's also like there's also just a lot of like mental health you can talk about him, because there's a story called The Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, where instead of his family walking into a mob execution, they walk into an Avengers and X-Men fight. And so instead of vowing to fight criminals, he vows to fight Marvel superheroes. And that's the only change. He's still identical. He still wears the skull t-shirt and everything.
But then he's a bad guy.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, his framework isn't that he really thinks he's doing the right thing. He knows he's a murderer and a piece of shit, and that he's really no better than anyone that he's killing. He just does it.
Wow. The Punisher.
It's so strange. I mean, John Berthel is Punisher in season 2 of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I did watch the TV series, and there are some good moments. There's some good bits, because it does take.
I have not seen it.
It takes a real big mental health stance on like the PTSD issue involved, and like he goes to trial.
Yeah,
like he actually goes to trial, which is something interesting about this guy who is a vigilante. Like they confront that fact that this guy is a vigilante, and
he goes to jail a lot in the comics also.
And he goes to jail
a lot in the TV show.
He goes to jail in like season 1 of his show, The Punisher, a Netflix show. And I think he gets broken out.
I thought that was in season 2 of Daredevil.
In season 2, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He meets up with Kingpin in jail.
Because Charlie Cox is his attorney and all that stuff. Yeah, you're right. Right.
Yeah. I had something else and I completely lost it.
Yeah, whatever. Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
All right. Well,
Stuart, any final thoughts on The Punisher?
Just a very the film is a victim of no commitment, and I think for all of its lukewarm tendencies, it suffers beneath lukewarm and is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's basically the vibe on The Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, David, thank you so much for coming out.
It was a pleasure to be here. I was really excited when I got to come on because I love this show.
Thank you.
Oh, we got
Thank you. You'll be back.
Yeah.
At least once.
Oh,
which
boy.
we'll talk about in a little bit.
No.
That's an off the mic thing.
David, I'm going to tell you to ignore that phone call when you get it.
You'll be back at least once.
Hailing frequencies are always open.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode on The Punisher. You can join us next week where we'll be covering A Love Song for Bobby Long, which is a real movie in spite of the title. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. As a reminder, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. You can find us at Travolting Pod on Twitter or Instagram, travoltingpodcast@gmail.com for any questions or comments. Pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting. You can find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
Find me on Instagram at Stuart195.
You can find me just out of the corner of your eye.
And as always, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design, Nicole Johnson for our social media, and Michael Van Bodegen Smith for our theme music that is now taking you out. Enjoy your week, folks.
Bye.